We shall await our friends on this joyous occasion.
Don't uncork the mead just yet.
Oh yes, uncork the mead. Just don't drink it.
We shall await our friends.
But let the mead breathe. Guilty Angel, she's never not the first one. If she's going to show up on any given day, she's going to be the first one on every time. Fresh out of the shower, too. I wish I could say the same, actually. I've had it. And Delicate is here.
The dog has arrived.
It's Karen Reed, and the dog has arrived.
Now the party can start.
The dog has no name.
Come here.
It is only the dog, and it has arrived. Hello, dog.
Hey, sweetheart.
Bloody good to see you.
You're precious.
So,
I love you.
oh my God. Alyssa's fresh out of a 12-hour shift at the hospital. Holy
Yikes,
shit.
bro.
I don't know how you guys do it. I hope the money is outrageously good. It better be, considering the amount of money that they're getting from the insurance companies.
Well,
so I hope they're passing that down.
I hope we can help you decompress a little, because that sounds stressful.
But financials aside, I hope we can have some fun and just hang out and talk about how at least there's some justice, a little bit of justice. So let me get you on, Angela. It's just me solo, looking handsome, dapper, I must say. There she is. Hello, Angela.
Hi. What's up? I'm here.
You're
So are
wonderful.
you. So are they.
I am. Yeah, I'm here. Here I am.
So is everyone.
Glad to be here.
So is
Happy
Karen
to be
Reed.
here. I actually put, I have this. It's funny. I'm such a creature of habit. Like I had my tea always in the same spot because I routed my mic a certain way, and I had to. That was the only place to put it, and so I just left it there, even though I rerouted my mic, and now it's like in a much better spot. I don't know why I'm telling you this.
No,
but
I think it's adorable. I think that's very, very common, very typical. You don't want to trip over your wires even after you've moved the furniture.
Right. Exactly that.
I love this accent you brought today.
Karen Reed.
Exactly that.
Exactly that. What? That's my accent.
No, I love it.
Karen Reed
Oh, I went looking
is
for you.
guilty. She's guilty.
No.
She's guilty.
That's actually incorrect, Dale.
She's guilty as
Dale,
I sit
listen.
here, she's guilty.
I don't want to tell you what to think or anything, but you might be mistaken about that.
Karen Reed is guilty. Guilty, I tell you. I knew it all along. I was saying it the whole time. Beyond any reasonable doubt whatsoever, that woman was guilty from day one.
Mm-hmm. So then what happened?
Then she got not guilty.
Then she got acquitted.
She got acquitted. She got the DUI, which I actually think is unfair. I don't think she should have been DUI'd at all.
Tell me why. Tell me why.
Because they didn't have reliable data. They were relying on the science that says that if she was this amount then she had to be this amount.
No, it's true.
No, so
It was not beyond
there was
a
no
reasonable
measurement of her blood alcohol at the time she was operating the motor vehicle, and there was no one there. In fact, when you don't have a blood sample, what they do typically in most places is they rely on the cops who conduct a roadside sobriety test.
Field sobriety test.
Field sobriety test. And if they don't, and so we have a kind of sort of field sobriety test in testimony, and every testimony about her demeanor was that she was not inebriated beyond any ability to operate a motor vehicle, including people who witnessed her actually operating the motor vehicle.
Right.
With that, up at the stop sign, making a normal turn, traveling at, the right speeds and so on and so forth, just driving responsibly. Now, do I believe she was drunk? I think she was fucking loaded. I think she was totally loaded.
So
but as far as the law goes, I thought O.J. Simpson was guilty, and I was also behind that decision by the jury.
I noticed that you and I have a really good track record for juries.
Because I know my shit, bro. I know the truth. I seek justice. I've been seeking justice for 30 years. I know the pain of somebody who needs it. I can see it on their fucking faces. I can see it. Your soul gets marked in a way.
No, I know, but it's just interesting that the juries tend to decide these cases that we follow the way that we do. Because sure, you might be right, but why is the jury aligning with you? It's just interesting.
Because the idea is that by assembling 18 people and calling them jurors of our peers, that among them, the majority of them will carry with them the common sense that comes with being a human being. We have common sense. It's been developed since we began as a species. Our common sense. And it begins from, avoiding predators. I mean, it literally begins from avoiding predators, like don't run out into the great wide open, mm-hmm. if there are big creatures in the sky that may come get you. When you look at chipmunks, they're not like basking in sunlight.
So juries are like chipmunks, is what you're saying?
Juries are just like chipmunks.
Hey, you want to hear something funny about her about the conviction she did get today?
Yes.
She's gonna have to enroll in one of those like DUI prevention seminars.
Yeah.
And part of the DUI prevention seminar, I'm just so tickled by this. It involves people who have been negatively affected by DUIs to come and talk to the
so
the
somebody's
attendees.
Going to show up and be like, well, no, they're going to have their stories. Who's in the news right now is Ruggs. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Ruggs was the wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders, and he just got drafted, first ever drafted Las Vegas Raider, first overall, or their first pick, not first overall, wide receiver, amazing player, played one season. I was like, holy fuck, if only the Eagles could ever get a wide receiver like him. One night out in Vegas, drinking like crazy in his brand new sports car, Corvette, I believe, he smashes into and kills a pregnant woman.
I remember when
while
this
drinking
happened.
and driving, and he is now serving 3 to 10. He is now serving 3 to 10, and he came out, and I guess he's in the news because he just came out and he was doing a talk or whatever, and he has this dream that he's going to play in the NFL, and he wants people to know who Ruggs is, the real Ruggs, and not the Ruggs who was lost and scared.
That's a very clear example of the dangers of drinking and driving. And I think what's interesting about what Karen Reed is going to be subjected to in this seminar that she has to enroll in, okay?
Yeah.
Is that it's going to be people who show up to talk to potential drunk drivers as if they're unaware that it's not a victimless crime. They're going to be like people with victim impact statements basically to share.
Yeah.
Being like,
Delegate's correcting
listen,
me, I think.
something really bad can happen if you drink and drive. And I just think it's really funny that Karen Reed is going to have to sit there and listen to that. Or maybe they'll call her up on stage and just be like, you could be framed for murder if you drink and drive.
Well, yeah, right. Well, I immediately imagine that exactly. Like some guys down there going, so, let me, you know what? Never mind, actually. Karen, would you
just share with the class?
We really all watched anyway, but you could still remind us. Because she's been through it all. She did it all. And
she's a little bit of a celebrity in the DUI circuit.
Can you believe the celebrity this woman is, though? It's so wild.
Speaking of celebrity,
it's interesting.
Thanks to our wonderful chat, who is always informing us of all these interesting things. Erica said that, did you see Procter is going to be on 2020 tonight? This is never going to end. They're all going to try and cash in on their 15 minutes.
You know what Procter is going to be on some other night? The other end of the table across from an FBI agent asking him some more questions about the little glass pieces on the bumper.
Procter is going to show up on 2020 tonight, certainly with his lawyer just off camera. I couldn't believe it.
I'm just absolutely blown away by, I'm blown away because I'm not really blown away. I don't know how I feel. I've had a bad day, truth be told, but the news of Karen Reed's acquittal was huge for me. I got to tell you, I'm a little part of my, I have this overall bad energy day going on, but part of it was the TikTok ban because, we've been covering this story for a while. We've been talking with everyone. We've been talking about every witness that we thought mattered. And, maybe our coverage is sloppy as fuck, but we have a good time and we hang out with our friends. And some of those friends are over there, like Jenna and those others who don't go on this app. And, they're keeping me from it. And it's like, I'm a little bummed about it. Really glad that I'm with you guys. I'm glad we're not thank God we ended up on YouTube and we weren't only on, because all of our friends here are from YouTube, I think.
That's why I
mean from TikTok.
That's why I think it's it's better if you just focus on the new beginning and not the sudden ending.
And the sun rises. in the East.
I think you made us a nice little cozy nest here for us to just hop right into.
In the
And even though you
beginnings.
had some other place that you liked, like, I think that this is going to work out great, and you shouldn't really look back.
Thank you for all the hope.
You
I
did a
hope you
really,
did.
really good job, Dale. Like
Thank you for the
nobody
hope.
could say you didn't fucking rock this shit. Putting us on YouTube and setting up a little channel with Dale made this. I don't know if you guys saw the thumbnail today.
Thumbnail today.
I was so proud of your thumbnail work today.
I found some good photographs to manipulate. Anyway, enough about me. Karen Reed is free. Not that she wasn't free, but she's now like, oh my God, the stress, all the stress that just got to leave that whole family. All that stress got to go. You saw what's his face crying, who I learned
Yannetti.
was the OG attorney.
He was the first attorney they hired to defend Karen Reed, and he cried in the courtroom. It was sweet.
Watching him reconcile with that emotion as it hit his throat.
Yeah, they had the camera on him.
We're watching.
I was watching.
And you just saw all the emotions just
He was
hit
like
his
trying to
throat,
hold it back.
and his face crumpled up just a bit, like just a little bit. It crumpled up, and it like built a quick dam.
He was
and
so
he looked down.
He was struggling so much trying to hold back his tears. It almost looked like he wasn't happy.
Yeah, right.
Because he was really like dealing with it.
It was clear what he was dealing with, or what he
really
was.
cute.
But if you put a meme under it without any context on it, you could put a meme that is like some kind of negative thing.
Yeah, or like a scroll that says Karen Reed found guilty. In the same reaction.
It was absolutely. It was beautiful to watch. It was beautiful to watch him grapple with his emotions. Jackson, started hugging like on the second count.
Yeah, he's a Care Bear.
I had in my layman greatness, had wondered why they would add these
Lesser included.
But like I didn't understand it because I was like, well, one of the things I didn't totally understand was I thought that the prosecution or the Commonwealth was ready to hand her just like the one charge, murder 2, that's it. And I would take that all day long if I were them, considering ARCA. I mean, they. And then the other thing is like thinking about why didn't you put Higgins on, or why didn't you put Proctor on? But they had ARCA, and ARCA just slammed this case shut. Like there was all the doubt.
They were celebrating today in the ARCA
ARCA?
headquarters.
Oh, dude, they're
That's a big one.
passing the fucking cider. Give me some cider over there.
And they're all a
Hey.
bunch of like engineers too. So
Teasing each other about their degree, where they got their degrees.
No, listen, they're all a bunch of engineers, so it's like homebrew.
Yeah.
They have like, every single one of those dudes is like got this whole like homebrew setup that's like
right.
state of the art.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking copper piping and all
Exactly.
this shit. The kids are not allowed in the room.
So they're like cracking open all these like old.
You open the door to the stairs and there's kids waiting, like poor kids in old English movies.
Why? Why all of a sudden do they neglect their kids just because they like to homebrew?
Yeah. Karen Reed is free like a bird.
Yeah.
She flies with the birds.
Did you
She hoots like owls.
see this?
I don't know why I would say something like that.
I don't know either.
I'm pretty happy about it. I am. And I'll tell you, I have no fucking justice in my life, and I feel this pain. I feel this pain every day. I really do. I feel it sometimes so intensely that it can ruin my day. And in a lot of ways, I feel lost for hope when it comes to the idea of justice, that there's any kind of fairness going on. And honestly, there really isn't. Like, I think that the Commonwealth gets away with one if it's not Karen Reed and it didn't become famous. You know what I mean? Like if that's some schlep that nobody wants to care about. Do you know what I mean? Not some pretty, white girl. I mean, I'm just going to call it like it is. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't get like in the veins of American pop culture. The Commonwealth tries to get away with that,
This must happen all the time with like politicians' kids and like
like the Murdaughs,
sheriff's
the
kids.
Murdaughs,
Yeah, dude.
The Murdaugh, they did that. They got
that's, away with
that's
so
how that whole
much
community ran.
criming.
It wasn't until someone died that it
Yeah.
became a bigger problem.
Well, no, I mean, no, people had died.
Well, it's true.
They
The
were
guy by the side of
implicated
the
in-
road, the kid by
Yeah.
the side of the road. That's right.
Yeah, that's still unsolved. It's horrible.
Yeah, the Murdaugh, and this is the other thing about the O'Keeffes. Now, just so if you don't know this, there's going to be a civil litigation. Did you know this? So the O'Keeffes
tell
are
me everything.
suing Karen Reed. Well, I don't know everything, but they're suing Karen Reed. And I find this really, really very interesting. It'll be interesting to see if this actually gets televised. And what is interesting also is that civil litigations are a far different ballgame.
Okay, but
So they're going to have, the O'Keeffes are going to be able to introduce a lot of evidence that they may have wanted in the criminal trial that the judge would not allow in a criminal trial. A civil trial might let some of that stuff in. That also goes for the defense. So it's very interesting.
So they're okay. So I don't know if you guys remember, but this same exact sequence of events happened to O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
And Nicole Brown Simpson's family sued him.
Well, the Goldbergs. No, the Goldbergs did.
Oh, I thought they were joined.
Might have been. The
I
Browns
think you're right,
and Goldbergs.
though. It might have just been the Goldbergs.
He was Mr. Goldberg was the big dude. He was the big with the big mustache and the very, very upset demeanor, for good reason.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so they prevailed.
I was sad.
And so I wonder if they're just expecting the same sort of scenario to go down. But
Well, I don't know. It would be.
I don't know why they would go through that. Why would they put themselves through it?
We have more concurrent viewers than we have views. Put that puzzle piece together in your brain.
Hey, so apparently, so the opposition put out a statement.
Yes.
And
The opposition.
yeah, like
The
okay.
Commonwealth.
No, Jennifer McCabe,
Oh, yes. Okay.
Matthew McCabe.
Will you read it? Do you have it?
Yes.
Who?
It is the most curious choice I can't imagine why they did not consult anybody before they did this.
This is a bad
A lawyer didn't
fucking
help them
move.
do this, and a publicist did not help
She
them
has
do
just
this.
been acquitted in her second trial by a jury of her peers.
Yeah.
This statement's nuts. Read it. I barely
She could
remember.
sue for this, I think.
Well, read it. I
Okay,
mean,
listen.
there's
So
going to
this
be.
is a statement from Jennifer McCabe, Matthew McCabe, Chris Albert, Julie Albert, Colin Albert, Nicole Albert, Brian Albert, Carrie Roberts, and Kurt Roberts. 3 families. Today, our hearts are with John and the entire O'Keefe family. They have suffered through so much and deserve better from our justice system. This we agree on. While we may have more to say in the future, today we mourn with John's family and lament the cruel reality that this prosecution was infected by lies and conspiracy theories spread by Karen Reed, her defense team, and some in the media. The result is a devastating miscarriage of justice.
I hope she gets squashed. You know what's so sick?
You hope who gets squashed?
I hope she gets squashed litigiously.
Oh,
Like I hope she
all of them?
and all the Alberts and all the
1, 2,
yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. What are they doing?
Let me tell you.
Why would they say lies and conspiracy theories spread by Karen Reed? Like, okay, we all of us on both sides think that John's family did not get justice. We all agree on that. Why would they take such a harsh stance against her specifically?
It's going to get ugly for them. I honestly believe that there is a very strong possibility that the FBI is coming for them.
Yeah,
because
so
I think that they were waiting for this verdict to open the door to their investigation.
people are reminding everybody in the comment thread underneath all of this that Matt McCabe did text, "If she pleads, this will all go away. If she fights, it will be an episode." Betterola responded to this, said, "This is a regrettable statement to make and obviously done without the benefit of PR advice. I will simply note that 4 of the people who authored this statement were in a text chain days after January 29th, 2022, in which they discussed, among other things, telling the media that the guy never went in the house.
Yeah.
And gleefully celebrating what another signatory of the statement was telling the police after they huddled up to create a timeline."
This was some crazy testimony. This is, of course, is the Jen McCabe telling her that telling the others that a witness who was being interviewed was doing everything they wanted her to do, behaving exactly as they instructed her.
What does that mean? What could that possibly mean? That's not.
And I know I get some shit wrong because I think somebody corrected me. I think it was Delicate, because I said earlier that Ruggs killed a pregnant woman.
Oh, it was a
woman
young
and her
woman
dog.
and her dog. I was delicate, yeah.
Delicate, thank you for always being there for me.
It's true. She is. Oh, well, we have to watch Proctor on 2020. I hope he gets
Oh, what a fool.
embarrassed.
Well, you know what I think it is I just think, well, you know what's interesting about Proctor is he's going to try to make money.
I know.
He got a fucking, you know what he got
Yeah,
for
he's a
that? He
celebrity.
probably got five, good, strong 5, maybe even low 6 figures.
To show up.
For 2020?
I just hope all
That's
of the questions.
big ticket. That's a big ticket interview.
I wish that all the questions would be like varying phrasing, like different phrasings of like, so why didn't you conduct an investigation?
So where'd you get the glass, bud?
So where'd
you get that glass, bud?
why did you not check out the house? What happened to the investigation part of your job? You're the lead investigator. Why weren't you?
Well, what a party. I'm super excited. I can't wait till the reaction is finally all the way kind of in. And what I mean by that is like, you got Proctor coming out now. Like it's just going to be interesting because there's an unsolved murder right now.
Yes.
Because it's now a murder.
Yep.
You know, you covered this up. There's no manslaughter now. Now you're a murderer.
They could not explain that he had been struck by a plow or a car.
Nope.
And so there's no other way he could have ended up on that lawn.
So how'd he break his skull?
Yeah.
How did he break his fucking skull? And by the way, they proved beyond any reasonable doubt or to a reasonable degree of medical certainty that arm was attacked by an animal, and the only animal in the vicinity of that fucking dude was the dog in the Albert's house.
I know. So what's going to happen?
Investigations. It has to be. It has to be. There has to be an investigation. This is an unsolved murder. It doesn't matter if the O'Keeffes think she did it. It doesn't matter if the Commonwealth thinks she did it. That doesn't fucking matter. She was acquitted, and it should be incumbent on the law enforcement, or whether be that the FBI, be that federal or state. But I think the feds should definitely step in because the state because Karen Reed's attorneys have proven beyond any fucking doubt whatsoever that something corrupt was afoot, and that means you got to bring in the feds.
Yep.
That's when you bring in the feds.
That's what we got to do, Dale. We got to bring in the feds.
Who polices the state, right?
We got to bring in the feds, Dale.
So fuck.
How do we get the feds involved? I'm just kidding. I don't want the feds involved in my life.
I'm guzzling my tea.
Okay, you want to hear from the
night.
chat?
Yeah, let's hear from the chat.
Hi said, I love you guys your live streams. Sometimes I don't even know what you're on about, and I still enjoy them. I love how you answer everyone's questions and doesn't just ignore us like other live streamers.
We'll always do that too. Well, we love you here. I mean, I know. I
I really enjoy it.
I love when there's piles of us because then you guys have more than just us to party with. But that is very kind.
Oh, this is very sweet. Alyssa said, me as well. That's why a selfish part of me doesn't want Dale to get that popular, but at the same time, I want him to get justice. So I hope he does get popular.
I need the justice. I don't even care about popularity. I just want some fucking justice. I really do.
Erica said,
I'm literally seeking justice. That's really what I'm doing here.
I'm sorry.
Angela, you've got to let me finish when I'm talking.
I thought you were.
I wasn't finished. It's okay. I'm kidding.
More about Proctor on 2020 tonight, which I'm going to look for sure.
It's tonight?
Mm-hmm.
So that shit was lined up. So he was going to be there guilty or not guilty.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
For sure. Yeah,
I bet
that wasn't like a
That is so
decision.
funny. So I wonder if he's like, gulp. Erica said, I really hope they don't try to make Proctor look sympathetic because he is the ultimate reason there will never be justice. That's right.
I don't know if there will never be justice. That might be true. There might never be justice. But if the feds step in, we don't know what they'll find.
My prediction is that they'll find that it was an accidental homicide, but that he's
Like some kind of negligent
that whoever
homicide.
did it is liable because they attacked him, like to fight him. I think it was a takedown. I think that that's the most probable way that he could have gotten that head injury is if he was taken down by
If he was taken down.
If he was taken down by force.
He got taken down.
Because if he had just fallen back.
That's what we'll call our second podcast. If this one fails.
Taken down.
The taken down.
Stop it. If he had just fallen from being lunged at by a dog, you know, if a dog like latches onto him and he falls back.
Yeah.
It almost seems like it's too coincidental that he would fall back onto something. But if he's taken down, you and I both know, because we've experienced being taken down in like class on pads, that
Yes.
the force of being like, of having like your hips grabbed and you taken down by a guy who knows wrestling moves is so fast. It's way faster than gravity.
It's very fast.
I think that that's how it happened to him.
Yeah, there's some.
But I think it was
It's
an
like
accident.
a whiplash kind of thing, you
Yes.
know, or whatever, you know.
It makes sense.
I don't know how to describe it in terms of physics, but it's like a whipping.
Yeah,
Some
it's
kind
nuts.
of- like a lashing of the head.
Stefan said,
gnarly.
"Damn, these two looking good tonight." Good as in caps, so I'm assuming that's how you meant it.
Well put, Sarah. You're very kind.
Guilty Angel said, "Has anybody else been noticing that people are getting nastier in society, or is it just me?"
No, it is that way. It's the most it's the most saddening thing. It's
Do you have theories?
well, I used to play this game called Civilization. And in this game, you build your society up from a primitive society all the way to launching rockets to the moon. And while you're building this up, you end up in situations where there's conflicts with others and trading issues. And while all that's happening, sometimes the people will grow unhappy. They'll grow, you know, and there's like just, I think we have,
They'll get angsty.
yeah, I think what we have is, you know, everyone waking up to a really grim reality that there's nobody helping us anywhere. So when you look at your cops, they're trying to put you in jail when you're innocent, right? They're not protecting you when you need them. They're standing behind their doors in their cars while your children are being shot. Your government isn't taking care of you at all. They're taking care of themselves and, enriching their lives and hoarding all the benefits for themselves and feeding the oligarchy. And people are starting to realize that it's both sides. Like everyone was like angry at Trump, and Trump's a fucking whack job. There's no question in my mind, at least. But he's not the only whack job. The whack jobs are fucking high and low. Dianne Feinstein wouldn't leave office until she died, literally. Like it's
a complicity.
So I think that everybody there's now like our base level. This is what would happen in the video game. Is like the people you'd see this meter going up. Oh fuck, they're getting mad. And when they get mad, like the time will pass in the game, and then all of a sudden, the buildings start to burn. You know, the buildings start to burn.
And so, how do you fix it? You have to like
You build a coliseum.
Right? Yeah, you have to pacify them. With,
you build
like,
a coliseum. Yeah, you do things like build coliseums, museums,
So
art museums, history museums. You literally in the game, you buy these things, you put them up. People are like, "Oh, this is nice." And you're like, "That's nice." And then you go war. Well, they enjoy.
Yeah, I mean,
museum.
That worked for several decades, I think, but not anymore. My theory.
It doesn't work anymore. We're past that. We're past the coliseums. We're past the stadiums filled with people enjoying both music and sport. We're past all of the entertainment and the streaming. We've gorged on it to the point that we're just morbidly obese with all of this stuff. So we have it now. That's become more of our baseline. We expect entertainment. We actually seek now to be different than all the stuff that we're normally that we were normally consuming, right? And
I think it's harder to be distracted these days.
All these baselines have moved up to the point where it's just now starting to simmer, maybe ready to boil.
When you talk about people being nastier and to people, what was this? Has anybody else been noticing that people are getting nastier in society, or is it just me? I mean, I think that anytime you see somebody like road raging, or like some Karen like confronting somebody in public who's a stranger, like I think all of that is just a result of untreated anxiety, and there's so much to be like very normally anxious about.
Yeah.
Because things just aren't working the way that they used to, and they're not working the way that they should.
But it's not just that they're not working. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that I think that there's more than that. I think it's not that they're not working, but now we understand that they're not working, not because they can't be working, not because they shouldn't be working, but because they don't want them to be working.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah. But I'm saying that the reason why people are nastier to each other in public or in society, and not instead, finding brotherhood right? Because
Yeah.
we can all be struggling and feel
And go wahoo wahoo.
and feel camaraderie.
Yeah, around
right?
the leafless tree, sure.
What?
Wahoo wahoo around the leafless tree, I said.
No, well, I mean, like like class solidarity. Like, yeah, we
Yeah.
are all struggling, but we are connected. I think the reason why people are nasty to each other, even, instead of showing solidarity and finding community, is because they're super fucking stressed out. And
Yep.
people don't act normally when they're stressed out.
No.
No creature acts normally when they're stressed out. And I think that that's just the whole explanation for it.
Cosmic Urgency said they're not getting nastier. He said just turn on the online. The world's been way nastier in the past, and while that's true, and his point is well made, I think that that her question comes from who asked that question?
That was Guilty Angel.
Oh yeah, okay. So Guilty Angel's question, I think, or her observation really, is relative to her experience. So
yeah, but it's not just her, though. I mean,
no. So, well, let me finish. What I'm saying is that it's relative to her experience. So it doesn't matter that Rome was Rome or that the Middle East is the Middle East. It's relative to your experience. It's an interesting thing. People talk about trauma and they like compare it. Be like my trauma versus your trauma, and my trauma on paper might look really bad, worse than your trauma. Your trauma is your trauma. It's not. It doesn't have a measurement that's comparable to anybody else's. If it's traumatizing, you showed me this interesting video about a kid who talked about how he was traumatized because he'd spent this enormous amount of time trying to get the one thing he wanted most in his life, a gasoline-powered model remote control airplane that would fly in the sky. And he finally got it, and his dad wouldn't let him fly it because he didn't want him to break it or something. And he said, you're going to do it in the open field when we go with your uncle or some other family member. And they went out, and he took off the plane, and he suddenly hit his bliss. All those weeks of doing papers or whatever, mowing lawns or whatever it was that he did to raise the $150 that it took to get the model airplane, it was up in the sky, and his fucking family member, be it his dad or uncle or somebody else, they loaded the shotgun and they shot it out of the sky.
for fun.
For fun. When you compare that man's trauma to my trauma, his trauma is almost laughable. It's like something in a funny, cruel movie, right? Whereas mine is like in something dark by, what's his name? Aronofsky. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Solins, right? Mm-hmm. But my trauma and that guy's trauma is the same fucking thing. He went through the same thing. He had the same fucking horrible moment. And it's really fucking shitty because, people get categorized and their trauma gets, placed on some kind of level or meter. But that's not how the brain works. That's not how trauma works. Trauma affects you the way it does.
It's interesting too, because your experiences left you feeling unsafe, right? Physically unsafe.
For sure.
His experience left him feeling that he couldn't express joy or have fun because somebody was going to take it from him. And so they're both really damaging.
And he couldn't
but they're
trust
differently
anybody.
damaging. Yeah.
He couldn't trust anybody. His dad said he was looking out for him so that he could have the best experience with his plane. That was how he sold it to his kid.
He was tricking him the whole time.
My dad did a similar thing. My dad, it was much worse in terms of his physical and mental abuse, but there was one piece of mental abuse that he did that really fucked with me for the rest of my life. I've never forgotten it in my entire life. We were driving down the main street of Winnipeg, and there's the Parliament building, and on top of it is a Golden Boy statue that's on one foot. He's kind of like in a running with wheat in his hands because it's a prairie province, right? There's a lot of wheat farmers and so on, and representative agriculture.
And a Wheatley.
Here I am. And my dad, we were driving, and my dad goes, "Oh my God, look at that! The Golden Boy," because he's called the Golden Boy. The Golden Boy changed feet. And I was like a little kid. I don't even know how old I was, man. I couldn't have been 10 years old. And I'm in the back seat. My dad goes, "Oh, look at that." And he points up. And then I look, and my mind just did it. My mind let me see it. And I said, "Yeah, man, there it is, man. I saw it, Dad." Because my mom was like, "Oh, Doug, don't be ridiculous." My brother was like, "That's stupid." And my dad's like, "No, no, no." And I'm like, so I got my dad's back. I said, I saw it. I said, I did. I saw it. Because I believe my dad. My dad wouldn't lie to me. He wouldn't lie to my brother.
Oh, yeah.
He wouldn't lie to my family.
Worst.
He saw it. I believed my dad. I got his back. And then my dad completely belittled me. Called me naive,
For
stupid.
believing the
for
trick?
believing his trick. He belittled me.
What an asshole.
And I never forgot it. It's like like if I ever get therapy,
Yeah, I know.
like that'll be the thing that
worst.
like will come out in like a real broken way at one point, like an anger, like I start choking the Gestalt pillow. Why did you do it? His foot wouldn't change. You could have told me it wouldn't change.
You're like strangling the teddy bear.
Oh, we lost a bunch of viewers. People are like, Dale, stop it. All right, I'll come back later when he's talking about Karen Reed. Okay, well, that was fun.
Well, Guilty Angel is not just you. There's actually been studies that even just since 2020, whether it's because of COVID infections or because of people's increased stress about the state of the world, there's been like a remarkable increase in road rage incidents.
That's right.
And car crashes.
Well, there's also like the COVID.
So people
there's a COVID factor too.
People are just like not predictable.
There's a COVID factor too, like a general illness factor, right? Like people.
When people are feeling unwell, they're going to be testy. For sure.
We never used to get the flu over and over again. Like people never used to get the flu 3 or 4 times in a 5-year period.
Never.
They would get the flu once. Like I've had the flu maybe in my entire life twice.
I know, and that's common.
And those are the times I can remember that I was like bona fide, like I had the flu, maybe twice. In my whole life.
Not anymore. So I think that makes people on edge for sure.
So I think there's like a malaise to that is created by a lot of illness. And by the way, it's not just COVID, is it? Because that influenza, that whatever it was, AA, or that super fucking deadly and harsh influenza was going around at the same time as the other thing, the norovirus, the one that makes you poop everywhere. Isn't that what it does?
Yeah, among other things. That's the one that people do not want to catch. That's apparently the most miserable.
3 days of just all of your fluids escaping.
Horrible. Anywho,
Karen Reed is free. Have you heard the news?
Guilty Angel also wants to know any update about Blake Baldoni. That's really funny. Nothing really much today, but yesterday.
Well, there is this. I have this here.
Blake Lively did unseal an exhibit against JW. I don't know if we shouldn't say his name because we don't want to summon his.
Well, I mean, we just did that big update, which is like he is.
But that
he
is
fucked.
So this
that might be the update.
So this guy.
Yeah.
Street relations, JW in Texas. Okay. This whole time he's been denying that he had any involvement with any of this. He was like, yeah, they asked me for a consultation about whether I should do marketing. And basically what I did is I built charts for them and I monitored things, but I didn't actually engage in any, I didn't do any social media manipulation.
Right.
These things you're alleging are not true.
Right.
Well, Blake Lively just unsealed an exhibit against him that shows that she does actually have the correspondences where he says that he's going to be working in lockstep with everything.
With TAPS? Is that what they're called?
It's TAG.
The
TAG team.
I have to see that movie.
The agency.
The movie is on my mind. TAPS.
TAPS?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see it.
I want to see it.
Anyway, so that was good. So he is. Maybe he possibly perjured himself, but if anything, his case just got a lot weaker.
It did.
Yep. So that's new.
Stefan says that he feels like the world gets more cold and isolated. As the world gets more cold and isolated, people become that as a coping mechanism. Yeah, I actually agree with that. That's the whole thing of the it is. It's a pure coping. That and to an extent, if you're talking about like a world under stress, think about what we're dealing with. Like this is the craziest time I've ever been alive, and it's just never stopped since 2001.
I think people definitely
for 23 years, it's just been a never-ending relentless. Like it's been relentless for a quarter of a fucking century, bro.
I think people really deserve to give themselves a lot more grace and patience because these are weirdo fucking times and none of us are handling it as well as maybe we deserve to. Like it's weird for everybody. We're all struggling. I think we don't know how to deal with things. Like if the first time you're getting thrown into water, it's what the fuck is this? It's water. You don't know what to do with it. You don't I've also
know how
noticed
to swim.
A bunch of people are telling stories about how they try and talk about how weird everything is with their family or their friends, and they're met with like hostility. Like people just want to fake it. They're so devoted to making everything seem like as if it's normal that if you actually bring up how everything is obviously not normal, that they get really angry about it.
It kind of stresses me out that people are trying to not acknowledge what's going on. That stresses me out. Like that increases my stress level.
I know.
I'm like, I really need you to pay attention at this point.
Yeah, well, also,
at
like,
some point, you got to pay
just,
attention.
If we could just talk it over, then everybody would feel a lot better.
Cosmic urgency is here. I have to just interrupt our current line of speaking, and I have to tell Cosmic Urgency
we missed you yesterday.
That we did, and I don't know if you saw it, and you probably didn't, and that would be cool if you didn't, because what the fuck? Why would you? But yesterday we spoke about Paul Williams. I know Cosmic Urgency knows who Paul Williams is. He has confirmed or come out and said that Phantom of the Paradise is going to be a musical.
But it already is a musical.
No,
I'm so confused.
It's not. It's not. It's a rock opera movie.
Don't scowl at me.
Written and directed by.
Well, I'm so crazy. There's music. They sing it in the movie.
Yeah, but that's not a play. It's going to be a musical. They're with their sites on Broadway. They're very different. They're very different things.
That's so great.
They have the music written, so that's one major step. Of course, that's what they did with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
So it's just like beginning now. Like
yeah, they're talking about
project?
getting Bret Easton Ellis to write it. And Bret Easton Ellis has apparently met with Paul Williams. He's a fan of Phantom of the Paradise, which
that guy's so cool.
If you don't know, I wear the
shirts.
I wear the shirts on this live all the time. I have three Phantom of the Opera shirts.
Phantom of the Paradise.
Phantom of the Paradise shirts, they're fucking awesome.
Oh my God, how amazing is it going to be? I wonder how many times after it's on Broadway and they're selling tickets. I wonder how many old people are going to assume that they're showing up to watch Phantom of the Opera and they just got it wrong.
You know what's so cool about it? Well, I love this. It's just high time for this. It's just high time for this to happen. I couldn't be more excited. Paul Williams is one of the greatest American talents of all time. And you really ought to check him out as much as you can if you don't know who he was. Even his episode on a Love Boat was one of the best Love Boat episodes. I'm not even kidding. But he plays this record executive in the Phantom of the Paradise, and by the name of Swan. I mean, forget about it. What a fucking name for a record executive. His name is Swan. I love it. In a rock opera, so perfect. No, we haven't seen the studio yet.
Stefan is asking if we've seen the studio.
Why should Bret Easton Ellis only write novels, Cosmic? Why should he be restricted to one medium? He's a brilliant writer. He shouldn't be able to. He should delight in writing any goddamn thing he feels inspired to write. He's got the fucking luxury of that, man. I wish I did. I wish I could just write a movie instead of writing a book.
Just do it all. Just write it.
That's what I want to do. Write it all.
Write a rock opera.
I mean, I'm no Bret Easton Ellis. We all know that, of course. But I'm just saying, in terms of the liberty of art,
Hey, can I ask you some things from the chat?
Tell us what you got.
Delicate is asking, why does John O'Keefe's family,
yes,
right, who just are dealing with Karen Reed's acquittal today,
yeah,
why does his family want to sue her and not sue the police department?
Yeah, it's a very strange thing, but it's because, I'm going to guess here, of course, but I think it's probably because they're in the club. They're in the cop club.
This is the most heartbreaking aspect of the entire thing.
It's like a family.
If John O'Keefe's mother truly believes that Karen Reed is responsible for the death of her son, and she's not able to, she was in the courtroom every day and none of that testimony broke through for her.
Well, it's confirmation bias, right? So they talked about it over and over again in the trial, and that's what you get when you've got people who are sworn to a club, they put out that ridiculous joint statement that had a bunch of cops in it, right?
Yeah, right.
And when I say a bunch of cops, it's not just cops.
Higgins was missing from that statement.
Yeah, well, it's not just cops. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Higgins was notably missing. I was thinking about that. Yeah. But it's not just cops in that. The club extends beyond cops. Karen Reed was in that. Well, wasn't she? Because she just got convicted of drinking and driving sitting right next to a cop. She was sitting right next to a cop.
Yeah, they all drove home from the...
I'm not saying they don't drink and drive. I'm just saying that you're in the club.
Cosmic Urgency said that people aren't getting nastier, just terminally online. Oh, yeah, you said this before. The world's been way, way, way nastier in the past. That's true. I mean, villages used to be pillaged.
They still are. It's just where you are.
I know.
It's just all relative to where you are. This is the whole point where I went into the conversation about your trauma and my trauma are going to be totally different things, but they're both fucking trauma. Just because people were nastier in their past doesn't mean that we're not feeling that people are nasty today.
I also feel like it's really, it's very like cultural. Like you and I have lived in a few different cities, and it's how friendly people are to strangers is definitely like a cultural thing, and it varies depending on what region or what city you're living in.
Yeah.
Like I used to be a lot friendlier when I lived in Los Angeles to strangers, but they weren't always friendly to me. But it didn't seem like it was...
You were like, howdily doodly, and they were like, bah! And they threw ash in your face.
Well, no, I mean, I just think people are distracted mostly. But here, since I've been here, I haven't wanted to talk to strangers, even look anybody in the eye.
It's pretty hard to know what you're going to get around here. And the other thing is I think that we don't live in a world anymore that you can feel really trusting of your neighbor. Like neighbors are feuding like never before. It's like I feel like every block has a Hatfield and McCoy on it. I see warring political signs.
I think it's more often
on every other block.
I think it's more often that you run into like a Karen, where somebody's just like nosy and wants to like micromanage you. So I think that that's a really good reason why people are isolated. Also, I think it's important for everybody to recognize that at no point in human history have we all been inundated with this much information constantly, and that alone is stressful. Like, I don't know if you remember just a few decades ago where you could get bored. Nobody's allowed to be bored anymore. Like, I used to just sit in silence and not have a phone to look at. I just feel like that is very stressful. And if people's emotional health or mental health is a little haywire, it's because our lifestyles are. Yeah.
And our world is. We don't have stability. We have no stability. We're waking up in the morning without stability every morning.
There was a guy who commented about a video that showed up on Twitter of these like rocket launches over in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's just not normal that I'm scrolling here on this video box in my hand. And I'm seeing somebody's like cute kitten they just adopted. And then I'm seeing like rocket launches. Like these things used to just be exclusively available to like the intelligence officers that worked in warfare.
Yeah.
And now we're all seeing it. Like
we've got cameras everywhere.
Like, dude, it's no wonder that people are stressed out. Like, cause we are just inundated with too much information and a lot of it is negative.
Yeah.
And like, we just aren't. How are you supposed to reconcile
that?
No,
it's like I say I say this on this live. I've said this on this live more than once, and we've blurred into it. But I've always said like I don't really want to get into the political stuff, and I peruse entertainment headlines in the same way that, and all over the headlines.
You were going to say in the same way that I watch porn.
Yeah, right. I was going to say in the same way that I peruse people who are looking for writing advice for content to talk about what, to help people with writing. Or,
that's great.
But in the fucking entertainment section of Reddit, whereas my biggest source of material, I'm a big Redditor. I've been a big Redditor. I'm not a big in terms of my scope or presence Redditor. I'm just a big user of Reddit. And even though it's definitely going downhill, it's still my social media of choice. I guess I got a good algorithm going there. I don't know, but my feed's dope. Our entertainment is filled with Donald Trump shit.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Why? Because he was he was an entertainer.
God, that sucks.
He was a fucking entertainer. We have an entertainer in the White House.
You're like, I can't even fucking change the channel. That sucks.
Anybody check up on R. Kelly? Is he still kicking?
Oh yeah, whether he's been poisoned yet?
Yeah, he's bitching about it.
It was interesting. I went down the rabbit hole for the meaning of. I was trying to find the origins of the saying "sympathy for the devil," and of course, all the searches only came up with that really fucking killer Rolling Stones song. But it's just
Is that sympathy of the devil?
Sympathy for the devil.
Really?
Sympathy of the devil?
I think it might be sympathy of the devil.
Why would it say of?
Because it's the sympathy of the devil.
Now
Let me check.
No, it's going to autofill because I've been looking at this all day.
Sympathy.
Sympathy for the devil. Dale.
Is it? Do I got it wrong?
Yeah.
I get things wrong.
Well,
I know that's shocking.
when we edit, it'll be all nice.
Yeah.
It'll be all clean. Anyway, I realized that like I felt a little bad. I was like, okay, well, R. Kelly thinks he's being like deliberately poisoned in prison, and I don't feel anything for him.
Or like Harvey Weinstein
Yeah,
when he was whining about all his shit. I was like,
when Harvey Weinstein was whining about how he was going to lose all his teeth, I was like, sucks for you. Anyway,
guess you're gonna eat a lot of fucking Jello, mister.
I know.
I guess you better start learning how to soften food with your tongue.
And I just realized, like, it's fine. I'm not supposed to. I don't need to feel sympathy for people who are
Monsters.
evildoers.
No. No, why would I feel sympathy for Harvey Weinstein or Danny Masterson or any of these fucking
I would feel sympathy
Bill Cosby?
for the guy who's in the very next cell from R. Kelly, who's in a terrible predicament of being imprisoned in a nation that only knows punitive justice and won't ever rehabilitate or restore anything for anybody. But I don't feel sympathy for R. Kelly because I think that he's a monster, and I don't think that he's sorry for what he did. And so there you have it. That's how I feel.
He is a monster. He's a terrible human being. He is where he deserves to be. He, I hope, remains there for as long as he was prescribed. And they're all going to whine and bitch about it because they're bored. These guys used to eat real good, man. You know what I mean? They used to live in they're living in ape eyes. You know, ape
It is pretty messed up, though, if the people in charge of his healthcare are screwing up his meds and making him sick. That's kind of messed up. But not for him.
Agreed.
It's for anybody else that they're also managing.
Look, I don't think he should be abused. I think that the prison system here sucks. You see in Norway, you see what they got, like a nice little apartment. They can put things on the wall, pictures of the fam. They got TV with remote control.
This is what I'm saying. Like,
they got a desk they can work at.
Yeah, it's just supposed to be person storage. It's not supposed to be like you know.
They're just not allowed to integrate with society anymore.
It's not supposed to be torture.
They get to live alone.
Right.
In a little, and then they get to, or among each other. But the idea of making them live behind bars and like, they can just be locked away in a nice room, a decent room that's clean, that has a decent bed. They can sleep at night. What the fuck is wrong with all that? I don't care about any of that.
Yeah, I know.
You know, we can be humane in the way in which we incarcerate, because nobody wants to be incarcerated. You know, criminals don't. They want to be criming. And people who aren't criming, they don't, because they want to be living. It's punishment to get put away. Even if where you're getting put away has drapes. Even if it has drapes. It's also silly.
I'm like a baby abolitionist. Like, I know that is definitely like the...
Baby abolitionist?
Yes.
That's
like,
funny.
I believe in prison abolition.
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers.
No.
I have to study more.
Yeah.
I'm like a baby. I'm like at the novice level of abolitionist.
A wee abolitionist.
Yes.
That's funny.
And like, you know, when we were, Dale and I helped get a district attorney elected in where we live. And I did a lot of reading because she was, she's one of these really progressive district attorney candidates. And I did a lot of reading about restorative justice versus punitive justice. And oh man, like we are doing it the wrong way.
For sure.
Like there's so many cases in which like the victim and the victim's family are completely like kept out of the process entirely.
Yeah.
And they just go by like
we see it in headlines all the time where the death penalty is being invoked and family members are like, we don't want the death penalty to be invoked in this. That's not what we want. And the district attorney doesn't care. They want the chair because they want whatever they want in terms of political recognition or whatever
like
it is
plea deals where somebody is professing their innocence and they're convinced that they have to do time anyway.
Yeah.
Or else they might do more time.
Yep.
Like it's fucking backwards and fucked up.
Backwards.
Anyway,
well, there's no restorative justice there because there's no victim in that situation. If there's a victim and the victim can, participate. Anyway, we digress, bro. We're digressing. Let's get back to the Phantom of the Paradise. A musical.
You have more to say about it?
Bret Easton Ellis. Listen, I don't know why you think Bret Easton Ellis is not just because he wrote some bad movies. Who gives a shit?
What do you mean? He did not write a bad
Cosmic
movie.
Urgency says so, and I'm going to go look him up right now.
Bret Easton Ellis.
Easton.
No,
he knows.
he's confused.
Don't.
He's confused.
Hey, no.
He's not talking about
I
our
think
Bret Easton Ellis.
I think you're underestimating Cosmic Urgency. So stop. Don't underestimate. Where's IMDb?
I will not tolerate Bret Easton Ellis slander in this house.
Bret Easton Ellis. He was born in 1964. He published his first book when he was a wee lad, just a wee lad. Yeah, he's written stuff. He's got the Bret Easton Ellis podcast. Did you know that I got an email one day from somebody who told me that they heard about Don's Plum on Bret Easton Ellis's podcast?
I know.
And they told me that he liked it.
And where can we find that
Did you hear what I just said?
Yes.
Bret Easton Ellis, according to this person who sent me an email who was listening to the podcast but couldn't tell me which fucking episode it was.
Which is it?
I don't know. I asked him. He apparently said that he liked Don's Plum. And that was, if true.
So Bret Easton Ellis is a fan of yours, is what you're saying? That's what you're saying?
So he wrote Smiley Face Killers. It got a 3.7. Smiley Face Killers, written by Bret Easton Ellis.
That's
my
weird.
God. Oh my God.
Did he just write the screenplay?
Should I play the trailer?
Was that no? Do not. Come on. Don't play trailers, please.
It's Smiley Face Killers. Well, that's why we know you know about them.
You could just
about them.
spare us the trailers.
It looks really bad. It looks really, really bad. Okay, let's see. The Arrangement, 6.2. It's a short film though. That's why he likes Don's Plum, because I wrote a better movie than he can write. All right, we don't want Bret Easton Ellis writing the movie. I'm kidding. I mean the play. Fucking A, get him to read it. Get him to write it. I think he's an awesome dude to write it. Don't you think? No? You don't think so?
Sure. I mean, obviously, if they think so, then they're probably onto something.
Whoever just hit their like button, I really appreciate that. I wouldn't mind if you guys hit the like button. That'd be really nice. At least before you leave, make sure you hit it. And if you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. I think there's 5 of you here. You probably all have subscribed. But we do occasionally get a new subscriber. I need to get those bells. There's a bell that goes off. Ding.
No, horrible.
Yeah,
That's
we got to get the subscriber bell.
It's so
and
irritating.
And their name runs across the screen and a little band plays. We got to do that.
Well, it'd be fine if you had a visual or something, but don't do that. Like auditory bells.
Cosmic Urgency says that we haven't even read The Shard yet, so we're fake fans.
He's a fake fan if he thinks he doesn't write good movies. He writes good books that get made into good movies, so how does that not count?
I'm a fraud.
Stefan's very complimentary. He said, "You say you're no Bret Easton Ellis, but I got a massive less than zero vibe from parts of Too Real."
Well, it's interesting because I'm going to blow Cosmic Urgency's. I'm going to blow Cosmic Urgency's mind right now. I actually haven't read any Bret Easton Ellis yet. I'm only a fan of the film adaptations. I'm about to read Bret Easton Ellis for the first time.
We've been collecting his books.
I just got his books.
Dale's been intending to read Bret Easton Ellis for so long that we keep collecting them.
I brought when Bret Easton Ellis broke out into the scene, it was less than zero for me.
Yes.
And it was the movie.
And it was awesome.
And the movie changed me. It changed my perception of cinema.
Oh, that's very cool.
It was a absolutely high impact mode. I was not a book reader at the time. So at the time I didn't write. I didn't read books at all.
When were you not a book reader?
I was not a book reader in my late teens to my very early 20s.
What? Really?
Oh, well, that's not true. I started reading at about 18 or 19 is when I really started to read. So when did that movie come out?
Well, that's so interesting because you
Less Than
said
Zero came out
you said that your mother was a constant reader.
Yeah, but she was reading Harlequin.
Oh yeah, but that doesn't matter.
It counts. They're words.
What I'm saying is usually
1987.
Usually people who are big readers grow up with parents who are readers.
Right.
It rubs off.
Well,
just like how you're more likely to be a smoker if your parents smoked when you were growing up.
Yeah.
And so I'm just surprised that your mother was a big reader, but you weren't when you were a teen.
No, I started reading, I just barely broke in at 18 because I had a girlfriend who read Shirley MacLaine books. The actor.
Yeah.
So she's an author. She writes spiritual books.
Like self-help books?
Self-help. Well, they're not really self-help books, but they are generally. They're more like
like spiritual memoirs type thing.
Like new age memoir.
Yeah. Right.
Is really what it is, like new age memoir, where she has a channeler who channels like a spirit, and then like everything's like, you know, subtextually like laden with, you know, themes of spiritual enlightenment. And
what's super funny about
anyway, so I read
Shirley
those books,
MacLaine being this person is
and I loved them.
The character she usually, I'm sorry, what's super weird about Shirley MacLaine being that sort of author is that the characters she usually plays are really sassy and like irreverent,
super strong people.
But like, you don't imagine her being like super woo woo, like seance vibes.
No, it's true. If you watch her movies, you wouldn't think that she's like going back and speaking to a person who channels Rathma.
Right.
Ratha.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's not the like real. It's like Ratha or whatever. Shirley MacLaine was controversial for that movie, I Am God. I didn't read that novel. I read Dancing in the Light. I read Out on a Limb. I read something about a mountain. There's a mountain that you get to or something. I read that one. So my girlfriend, then I started reading because she was like, and then I went for this, I was like 18 years old. So I read that. And then I read New Age, like meditation, transcendental meditation. Like I studied New Age for like 2 or 3 years, where I don't know how many books I read. I just could not stop reading them. And it was all I read. So no fiction.
Cosmic Urgency said the one where she shouts, "I am God" at the ocean. Did you ever do that, Dale?
No. But
No?
as soon as
Have you tried it? Maybe it's awesome.
But he writes that, and it feels good just to hear her that she did it.
What?
I am God.
Oh, it's so meaningless, though.
Well, no, the ocean is the most powerful force there is.
That's just really funny.
Oh, Out on the Limb is the one she shouts, "I am God." Well, then I read that because I read that book, but I don't remember because I read it in like 80 whatever it was. They're good books.
She's a good writer.
Yeah, I mean the writing's simple. It's not like it's kind of like my stuff, you know. I mean,
so that was the first.
I think where I stand out is dialogue, and I think that's why people have said, because the guy who wrote me and said that Bret Easton Ellis is a fan of Don's Plum.
Oh, so cool.
Told me that he got Bret Easton Ellis vibes from Don's Plum. And Don's Plum has some of my dialogue on it, but very little compared to obviously my book. By the way, I did see Alyssa said that I should do an in-depth on Don's Plum or on the making of the filming of Don's Plum. And we're going to do that for the YouTube channel, I guess, at some level. But you can get it in the book too, you know. This is like really fun if you love Don's Plum.
It's very in-depth.
Like if you loved Don's Plum, this book is a companion that should not be missed. Like you cannot love Don's Plum and miss this. And it looks thick, but it's actually lean. It's super lean. You'll rip right through it. There's no fat in there. I mean, it's a little bit of fat.
Okay, we have to go back.
3% fat, 4% fat tops.
So Shirley MacLaine was the first author that you read?
Well, no, I read books through school. I read Day of the Triffids. I read To Catch a Killer. I read all these like school books that I actually really loved. And I actually got my first hand in writing. I had this really weird relationship with reading and writing. With writing, I was good at it immediately. Like I got entered into, they had this like provincial thing where the best writers in the schools got submitted to a committee who then awarded writers to be published in like an anthology of local school writers. And I won for my school. And I was like in grade 3 or 4. I wrote the story that I won with was called The Lord of Heaven versus the King of Hell. And it's just a short story about a guy who was just driving along a mountain road on a perfect day, no cloud in the sky, sun, temperature, everything absolutely perfect. And then clouds roll in out of nowhere, deep, dark clouds just roll in, and, you know, lightning strikes. And then there's this man standing where the lightning was, and he's like parks his car and he watches God and the devil fight to a draw. And then everything clears and he goes about his way.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you have it?
No. Well, here's the saddest story about it. No. So the saddest story about this is that it was all handwritten. This is 1980.
No, I know. I'm like dying to read your like little baby Dale handwriting.
So, it was all handwritten. Handed it into the teacher. I got selected, and for the school. And then when she went to go send it in, she lost it. She lost it. And let me tell you what. You remember I just told the story about the kid who was traumatized about the gun getting shot out of the sky, or the plane getting shot out of the sky? It was my plane getting shot out of the sky. That was my plane getting shot out of the sky.
Horrible.
It was my plane getting shot out of the sky because
you trusted her with your
it
work.
wasn't
And
that I
she
trusted her.
lost
I didn't.
it.
There was no. I didn't begrudge her. I immediately had no respect for anything that I wrote or cared for it. Like I went through this phase, for example, where
it just gets lost.
Where I went into poetry because I went from writing short stories to writing lyrics. That was the next writing phase of my life. And then I went from writing lyrics because I got, the band fell apart. My dad sold all the equipment. It was like a big disaster. And then I ended up moving to British Columbia doing stand-up. And while I was doing stand-up, I was writing poems like crazy quantity of poems. Like I was writing 3-4 a day, just ripping them out. Multi-page poems, short poems, just crazy much poems. And like I would see a person, could be a beautiful woman or a really, original looking person. And I'll just like write something like on the spot. And I just gave them all away. On the spot, I would just give them away. There had to be hundreds of them. For like 2-3 years, I just gave them all away. I went through this whole phase where as recently as in like 2004, I had books of poems and they're all my poems through Don's Plum. They were all my dark, like horrible poems. Like I turned one into like this crazy like scrapbooking thing where I was like using like, I was like making this collage-y art out of like money and like I was just like angry and I was drawing all these pictures and it was a fucking nasty book. It was a wild book. It was like an experience.
So you didn't keep any of it?
I didn't keep any of it. And what happened was my landlord even found it and he goes, "Hey, I found this." And I was like, "I don't care what you do with it." And Angela was like, "What are you doing? You should get that." And I was like, "I don't give a fuck, Angela." Because I just had this thing. It's not literally until recently that I've even cared about anything I wrote. Like it was until really like
I'm so glad you figured it out.
When I wrote "I Am Loving You" is when I started like really caring about keeping it.
Bro,
I have loads of shit.
Listen to me.
But
I'm so glad you figured it out because I would have lost my fucking mind if you were that frivolous with your work while we were working together.
Yeah. Well, it was like I told you, it was literally from that time when her name was Mrs. Winters, or no, Mrs. Novak. Mrs. Winters is the one who. So when I wanted to learn when I figured out that acting was something I wanted to do, we had to do this school play, and we had this teacher called Mrs. Winters, and she came in to watch us rehearse, and I was working with my my scene partner Bethany Ann, and what a crazy name too, Bethany Ann. Anyway, I was working with her, and I guess I wasn't doing very good, and this is when I knew that I really wanted to act because Mrs. Winters, when how you. People dream of awards speeches. Well, when Jeff Goldblum said I had talent, and I was moving to Hollywood, I immediately started imagining my Oscar speech immediately, like instantly. I wasn't rehearsing or anything. I'd just be walking around and all of a sudden I'd be up on the stage and I'd be thanking people. And Mrs. Winters was somebody that I always thank. And the reason is because I was doing really bad in my rehearsals and it looked like our play was going to really suck. And I was the lead guy. And Mrs. Winters came up after she observed us for a minute, and she grabbed me by my shoulders and she screamed in my face, "You gotta feel it!" And her fucking cheeks were wiggling red.
Mrs. Winters,
chill
the fuck out.
Blazing at me, like just blazing.
Why?
And
it's so extreme.
It was amazing though, because I was just like, I felt all of it. Like she filled me up, dude. And I ended up getting nominated for like best actor out of there was like whatever 8 or 10 plays that they put on, and they did their little stupid like West St. Paul Oscar night or whatever. Yeah. And I didn't win, and the reason I didn't win is because I fucking forgot like 3 pages and I picked it up like 3 pages late. So that's probably why I didn't win, because I broke the play a little bit. You gotta feel it, Angela. It was great. It was amazing. I love it. I don't know why we're going down memory lane. Hey, how about that Karen Reed? That chick is free like a bird.
What do you think she's doing right now?
Flying through the sky. She's probably drunk. She's probably loaded.
She's probably drunk. She's like making jokes like, "Hey, is anybody gonna drive me home? Because I probably shouldn't."
Yeah, she's like with her keys. Who wants to drive? I will. Shouldn't joke, should we?
Can you imagine if she actually like got in trouble with like a real crime because she was driving?
Jimmy Kimmel made a great roast of Donald Trump. I told you Donald Trump is in all the news, but this one's so good.
He's in all the news because you put him in all the news.
Jimmy, no, of course
You're
not.
contributing.
Yeah, I'm the guy who puts shit on the news. Jimmy Kimmel roasts President Trump for dozing off next to Melania Trump at his, quote, G.I. Joe themed birthday party. I mean, that's fucking brilliant.
That's a good...
Another quote, the closest he gets to sleeping with his wife. I mean, both of those are pretty much great. Those like top shelf.
We're just going to yuck all the way to the end of the world,
That's
aren't
top
we?
shelf stuff. If you don't think that's top shelf stuff, then I don't know how you can stand me. Because my stuff is all beneath that. All right. Stefan said that the dialogue in Too Real was really something else, read so well, and every character had such a uniquely authentic voice. Thank you for saying so. That's the pride I have in my work. Like, I think I'm an okay writer. Otherwise, I think my extraordinary talent is I know how to tell stories. Period. Like, end of story. Like, I know how to tell one. End of story. Okay, I do, and I also know how to write individual people.
Yes.
Like, and it's not just that my dialogue is good, because even if my dialogue isn't great, they're still going to be, everybody's going to have their own unique voice.
You know what?
I'm very good at that.
You have such a knack for it,
but
too.
I work hard for it. It's not a natural thing.
You have such a knack for it, too, that I wonder, sometimes when you try and explain how you do it, it's almost like you oversimplify it. Like, it's hard to follow how you do it. It's like, have you ever seen that meme where it's like the challenge is to draw the owl, and so they'll start with 2 circle shapes, and then in the next panel they fill it in a little, but then in the next panel it's like a completed owl. They miss a bunch of steps in between.
There you go. Do it now.
That's like how you describe the magic you work with your writing.
Well, with dialogue, the only thing I can ever say about dialogue is that you have to constantly be having conversations in your head that are actual conversations between actual characters. And then I also like to play games with playing dialogues in my head of like relatives and people that I'm close to conversationally, to explore where they might go. Like, I might see something, for example, like an argument that's happening between 2 other people, and I might start imagining different characters that I've encountered in my life, be they family or friends or just somebody I saw out in the wild. And I'll imagine them in that scenario and try to play the dialogue out as if that was their situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's really fun because it's like a game. It's just a game. But I started doing that for years. I did it for years. I don't really do it much now because I don't get out much.
It doesn't explain it.
Well, what it did was it created this constant mental practice of dialogue going on in my brain that was created. So that's the explanation.
But like, that's not your advice to people.
Yeah, it is. Always practice dialogue. Yeah, practicing it in your head.
Think about dialogue.
Think about it like have your characters. Make sure the conversations are going on fluid in your brain, but like in your imagination. Before you write it down, like go through and let good dialogue fly away. Like let it slip into the ether, back into the ether. But train your brain to create fluid conversations, because what actually happens is what I ended up doing is I ended up creating this like where I'm able to create a fluid conversation. If I have a beginning, middle, and an end idea for a conversation, or whether it's fiction or if it's like in this case, in Too Real's case, where it's based on real things, I put poles in that I consider to be sort of the beginning and middle end, or the turning points of the conversation that are important, right? So I basically know how the conversation should end, and that could be on not just a dialogue level, but like on a emotional level, right? Does that make sense? And then what I trained myself to be able to do is have a conversation to that end. So in that exercise I was talking about, that end would be, or the midpoint could be, because I'm able to put it anywhere on a paradigm in my head. It could be the beginning, middle, or end
Of a scene, of a conversation,
or of an arc.
Right.
Yeah, of an arc, of an idea. Because I treat everything in beginning, middle, and end. Everything that I write has a beginning and a middle and an end. I don't always write the beginning, middle, and end to be read, because sometimes I split things up. Sometimes I'm, that's getting into some of the wicked weeds of like writing style and design or whatever. But like the idea more is, anyway, I'm going off too much about this. We're gonna lose all of our popularity.
I do want to bring up the one like dialogue writing thing though, before we move on.
Do it.
So you and I are like, we often joke about our like pet peeve is when we're watching a movie and two characters who've known each other for a very long time will tell each other in order to inform the audience all about their past history. And it's the most unnatural dialogue ever. Like, we saw it in this
expositional dialogue is something you have to use so fucking perfectly, or don't use it at all.
So there was this movie that we were watching, and Michael Shannon was in it, and he was really great. I think it was the Iceman, maybe. I don't know. He was really awesome because he always is.
I think it was the Iceman.
But he confronts his brother, and he was like, remember when we were kids? Remember what our dad used to do to us? Do you remember how it used to?
Remember when he put us in the basement?
Yes, the basement.
And he took the pliers and he squished them on your fingertips. Like, it was just bad.
And you're like, okay, so
and the worst part about it is, because like if you're going to make that dialogue remotely interesting, if you're going to give that dialogue any hope whatsoever, the other guy has to say no. It's like, what the fuck? What are you talking about?
He has to say no in order for the guy to keep talking, because if he understands what he's saying,
or just to make it interesting,
he's not just gonna like recite their shared memory to each other.
But instead, what happened was the other guy was like, "What do you mean? Do I remember? Of course I remember.
I was there.
I was there. I know. You think I wasn't there? It
made no fucking sense. No. Well, it happened just the other day. Last night we were watching Squid Game, the second season, and they did it. There was two characters that knew each other for a really long time, and they started telling like, the first time I met you, I remember it was this and this. Like, dude, you guys both had that same experience. He remembers. He remembers the first time you guys met.
It's weird because like the way I dealt with expositional dialogue in the book, for example, is with Jeff Goldblum, because like I had written, I had cut 30,000 words, or like in the neighborhood of 7 chapters of the book, which was all the opening that happened in Vancouver.
Yeah.
So when I decided that what I would do is I would just put it all in a summation scene within the Jeff Goldblum experience.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that scenario was completely correct in terms of my memory, at least in terms of talking about that event that I did. But I used expositional dialogue, but it was because Jeff Goldblum wanted to hear the story.
Yes. You need one of those.
So if you
need somebody to ask, what did your father do to you two boys when you were a kid that it was abusive? Or another character asked these guys on Squid Games, oh, you guys know each other for a really long time. How did you meet? Like you have to be sharing it with somebody. But if it's just two characters that both experience the same thing, you cannot find out exactly what happened to them. It's just impossible. So how would you deal with that? Would you just introduce like a third character out of nowhere? Or like, how would you do that exposition if the audience absolutely has to know how these guys came to meet each other, or like some other shared experience, like some child
I would
abuse?
turn it into something like, why didn't you? Like, I'd be like, so I would turn my expositional dialogue into like, you know what you didn't do when fucking dad was in the basement smacking me around? You didn't fucking get in the way. You didn't help. You sat there, you smiled. Like, I would turn it into that. Do you know what I mean?
Good, yeah.
You fucking smiled while our dad just beat us. And yeah, I smiled when he beat you too, but that's only because you smiled at me. You see what I'm saying? And now I'm turning it into that.
Now I know.
And then
as an audience, I know that these two kids were beaten by.
And now you can turn it into another thing, because he can turn it into, oh fucking here we go with this bullshit again. And it's like, oh, the old hat.
That's brilliant. Dan.
And now we're back into an expositional dialogue works. A little expositional dialogue lesson right there. But that's how I do it. I work with it in a way that creates conflict, tension, and resolution.
Yeah, you got to do something, because just spitting it out is just does not fucking work. I hate it every time I encounter it, and usually it happens in like in a show with really, really good writing. Like Squid Game has excellent fucking writing, and then this happens, and I'm like, oh, how did you guys fail this? This is like the simplest problem.
So the answer is, Stefan, I don't think that there is a drop off in quality. He's asking if it's season 2 there's a drop off in quality on Squid Games. I don't think there is. I think it's basically the same level of writing, and I think that they had a difficult situation because they had this big, giant, huge concept that once seen is seen. So it's hard. I think they're navigating the complexity around that fairly well. Excuse me. It was a little weird seeing him back. Like, at the end of season 1, I was like,
What are they going to do
what
now?
are you going back for? You know, like I'm going to get you. Like we all saw what the games were like. You're not gonna pull anything off except get shot at eventually.
We'll see what happens. No
But
spoilers.
it's good stuff. We are, I don't know, we're midway through season 1, I guess. Or two, I should say.
Season 2, yeah.
Midway, maybe a little more than midway. We'll watch some more tonight. Maybe with some popcorn. I don't know. I don't know if I'm hungry yet for popcorn. I don't know.
I do not want popcorn.
Yeah, I actually got.
I am well fed.
We have lychee nuts actually.
Dale cooked us dinner again tonight.
Yes.
Dale's a current go-to dinner prep for everybody who's, I'm sure, dying to know.
Yeah.
Is ginger rice.
Ginger fried rice, yeah.
With Chinese vegetables. What is the vegetable?
It's Chinese cabbage.
Chinese cabbage.
Chinese cabbage
with a little like black sauce you put on there.
Air fried
that you
tofu
make.
and oyster sauce, yeah.
And fried tofu, yeah. It's very delicious. So filling. That's why I feel I'm a little sleepy sometimes.
Yeah, season 3 is coming out on the 27th, says Guilty Angel.
Yes.
We're excited for that. We're going to watch every fucking minute of it. You can count on that. You guys got us into that. You guys got us into...
Lots of stuff.
White Lotus.
Yep.
You guys got into a lot.
We're going to watch The Studio because...
There's another one you guys got us into.
Stefan was saying we should watch The Studio, right? Yep. Stefan, you guys seen The Studio? I think you'd like it. Well, we're going to find out.
Yeah, we got to watch that one.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow Martha Plimpton was asked, I guess, about, River Phoenix. They were lovers. Did you know that?
Did she write a book about that?
I don't know. She may have. But
somebody wrote a book about dealing with River Phoenix's death. It must have been her. Don't let me hold you up.
Anyway, she says, I miss him. I still miss him every single day. And I just think about like how awful and painful that must have been for her, So yeah. It was just like every now and then, River Phoenix finds his way back into my, into my world. And it's so interesting because obviously he's been gone for 30 years and, more than 30 now. And, I mean, it's just so amazing how people live on in that way. Some people anyway.
I am struggling to find this. It was a River Phoenix. I guess Samantha Mathis.
Mm-hmm.
Was that his girlfriend?
Might have been.
Why am I tripping?
Yes, do please hit the like button. Thank you, Guilty Angel.
I can't find it. I thought I saw an article that somebody was writing a memoir about being very in that circle.
In that circle of friends.
At the time that he passed. And I thought it was a girlfriend or something, but maybe I'm just confusing it with that interview. That's very sad.
Yeah, it's interesting because like one of my favorite projects that I've been working on for years is an eternal love story. I love the idea of an eternal love story. Like I love the idea that you and I have been lovers for a millennia. I love that we've like been skipping through the universe forever, and that my story, which is hopefully going to be my next book, is about two people who have been whose life purpose through each incarnation is to just find each other. And it's just like
so romantic.
I just love it. It just it's just something I crave, because if there's nothing else, there's that. There's love. Like if there's nothing, if the whole world is void of reason, like if everything went to shit and we ended up in World War III and we're all staring down, like we're in fucking food lines and soup lines and all that other nastiness that comes with poverty. And if that actually happens, and it's well within the realms of possibility, if you're there, Like if I have love, do you know? I love how love can go through all of that. Like it survives. It goes. It can't be extinguished. It's why love stories are always in every story. Because it's the core of everything we are and why we're here.
I just think it's so lovely how you like embody your astrology chart, because it says that Dale's a real lover, you know, that you love, and that you're emotionally so like not just connected but informed by love and love stories. I just think that's wonderful.
I've always through my life been deeply moved from them, and when love stories are absent in something I'm reading, it's almost always extremely noticeable to me.
Really?
Almost always. You know, there's been a few books, like I'm not a big Andy Weir fan. I think that's his name. I'm not a big fan of his writing. Like I think his writing's fine. The prose are fine, very simple economical stuff. I appreciate that, especially if it's just about getting me through a story.
Andy Weir, what was this big book called?
The Martian.
The Martian, yeah.
But I quite enjoyed The Martian. I'm not a big fan. I read Project Hail Mary, and I thought it was not a good book. It is a massive, one of the biggest hits of all time in books. But I don't know why.
So, but he doesn't do love stories.
But there was no love story in that, and like so, it's a good story. There was a little bit of a love story in terms of love of humanity and the love of being human and being involved with him.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, not romantic, and so, but it worked for that, and it's worked for others. Like it can work in horror films really well. We're busy being scared, Like there's no love story in The Exorcist. So anyway. Yeah. I love love.
It's true.
I do. I think it's it's everything. It's the whole thing. It's the whole fucking mix. And when I saw Martha Plimpton still, living a part of every day in love with River Phoenix, who's been gone for 30 years, I find that like so fucking beautiful, and that it can take my breath away, and in it is like a poem, a song, a book, a movie. It's all there, and that breath, in that one single breath, I miss him every single day. That's a song, it's a book, it's a movie, it's everything.
I think he was involved with Samantha Mathis at
He was.
the time.
No, Cosmic Urgency confirms.
And so
that was his girlfriend at the time. That was the River Phoenix was her first love.
Oh, I see.
Like, I don't know if we're talking boning here or what, but obviously she misses him every single. I'm just being romantic here, and it's going downhill. It's starting to go downhill. We got to save it.
This is a little excerpt from Samantha Mathis's Wikipedia on that story. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Samantha Mathis met actor River Phoenix on the set of the 1993 film The Thing Called Love. Isn't that amazing?
The thing.
Soon thereafter, she broke up with boyfriend and Super Mario Brothers co-star John Leguizamo and started a relationship with River Phoenix. She was with Phoenix on October 31st, 1993, the night he died of a drug overdose after collapsing outside the Viper Room in West Hollywood. In the autopsy report, the LA County Sheriff's Department detailed that Samantha Mathis refused several times to give more details surrounding the death of Phoenix and had told deputies at the time of Phoenix's death that she had no knowledge of his drug use. Samantha Mathis took a role in the film Jack and Sarah, 1995, which was shot in London to get out of the country after Phoenix's death because of the excessive press coverage.
I bet you can't read. He's going to fuck off. That
smart,
chick's going to get on a plane, bro.
She's going to get the fuck out of Boston.
She's going to be like, you know what? I love you. I just got $10 million for my exclusive interview, and I'm going to fucking
LA.
Somewhere. Like, I'm going to, like, Thailand.
Samantha Mathis spoke for the first time publicly about the death of Phoenix in an interview with The Guardian in 2018. This is what I read. That's what I recall. She elaborated on the circumstances surrounding Phoenix's death. She said, "I knew something was wrong that night, something I didn't understand. I didn't see anyone doing drugs, but he was high in a way that made me feel uncomfortable. The heroin that killed him didn't happen until he was in the Viper Room. I have my suspicions about what was going on, but I didn't see anything." Horrible.
Yeah. That'll never leave. That just stays with you forever. Anyway, was it great? And like that single moment too, like, now we're past the love story and into River Phoenix lore. And like, that was Leo's career right there. Pop. Everything changed for Leo that night.
Crazy.
Leo's fucking path completely changed. Like Titanic would have gone through River for sure. Forget about it. Changed everything. Now, not that River would have taken it. Leo didn't take Primal Fear.
I also just think like psychically, it's got to be really burdensome to have everybody like basically congratulating you for taking over the career of a dead man. An untimely death has resulted in your good fortune.
Yeah.
That's got to be really fucking heavy to deal with. And I don't know whether he's reached such a huge level of success. Like, has he ever reconciled with how fucking weird that turn of events was, and how somebody's ultimate misfortune, the worst misfortune, ended up being his greatest opportunity? Like, that's fucked up. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, is he going to therapy about this? Because that's weird.
I wonder if that plays on him at all. It's very interesting.
If it doesn't, it should.
Delicate broke my heart. She just said, it's too late for me, but I get joy from watching, or from others finding love and who seem perfect for each other. I refuse to believe that it's too late for you. I just refuse to believe that. I don't believe that there's, maybe a 50-year anniversary is out of the question, but I don't believe that for a second. And I hope one day you won't believe it either. I believe love is around every corner.
Yeah, I absolutely believe this too. I think also that I've heard from a lot of people throughout my life that the time that they found somebody that ended up being who they felt was a perfect match for them was when they stopped trying.
Yeah.
I think that if you're social and you cultivate friendships and you're eager to meet people, that you're going to encounter somebody who's a really good match for you. And I just don't feel, I feel like the people that struggle with not encountering that in their lives are the ones who are like overthinking it and trying really hard. I know for me, like, I met Dale when I wasn't looking for a relationship.
I met you when I was looking. I was starving. I was hungry.
Really?
I was salivating at every corner. It was ridiculous.
Then why didn't you ask me out?
Oh, because I'm incapable of that. Because I'm a fucking absolute disaster of a human being.
Why'd you make me wait so long until I was like, screw it, I'm going to do it?
I couldn't ask you out. I was just, you made me nervous. You were too beautiful. I could not handle it. I thought you were way too young for me, but it turns out you were right at that like dozen-year level. Contingency, cosmic urgency. Fucking brain just rewired itself. Cosmic urgency said, according to Vampira, Anthony Perkins said something like, now it's my turn, about his career after James Dean passed away.
What the fuck?
That's the town.
Absolute ghouls. I can't believe
Bro, I just, in my book, man, chapter 1.
God.
And this is real. This is exactly what Jeremy Sisto said to me, bro. He was like, dude,
the
competitiveness in this town is ridiculous.
Inhumane.
You are at risk at every minute. Watch your back. All these things. He gave me all those warnings. And there you got it. Like, there it is. Like, if Cosmic Urgency is getting his information from a good source, and Vampira sounds like a good source to me. It's sad. I told you the story about my friend who was up for the same role as his friend in a life-changing role against one other guy that neither of them knew. Mm-hmm. And he preferred that the guy neither of them knew get the role if he didn't, rather than his friend. Okay,
and where is he now? Is he at like the pinnacle of his success? Has he achieved all of his desires in life?
No, in fact, the guy...
Because I feel like that's a really great way to like totally handicap your own progress.
No, in fact, the guy who he didn't want to get it if he didn't got it, mm-hmm. They're no longer friends.
Yeah.
And haven't been friends since around then, Mm-hmm. And the guy who didn't get the job doesn't have an acting career at all. He has no acting career. And
That's
and
not
at
a
the time,
coincidence.
it was between him and Seth Green for fucking everything.
I just feel like it's like not a coincidence that some of the most successful people are the people that everybody's like, oh, he's just the greatest. Like Pedro Pascal. Nobody can say a bad thing about him. You know?
No.
He's kind. He's caring. He works hard. He wants everybody else to do well. You know? It's like that's what it takes to reach the top.
I thought he would Pascal. I thought Pedro. I thought he'd just drop me because he was like, because he's active on his Facebook. He doesn't. His Facebook isn't his publicists. Like.
You think?
No. I know it. Yeah. And he posted, and your friend Pedro has posts, and I was like, oh, he hasn't dropped me. It's probably because I haven't posted in 10 years. If I put something out, you're like, hey guys, it's me. I wrote a book.
He'd like jump scare. Oh God, it's Dale.
He'll jump scare. You're like, unfollow or unfriend or whatever you do on Facebook, whatever it is.
I hope nobody sees I was connected to him for even a second.
Holy fuck.
Cosmic Urgency said, he's so negative tonight. I kind of can't stand Pedro Pascal.
Stefan called Cosmic Urgency his favorite contrarian.
Yeah. He's doing it tonight, dude.
Yeah, he's on it. He's got
Cosmic Urgency, you're wrong.
He's got like one lip curled up.
I kind of can't stand Pedro Pascal. Why? What's he ever doing to you, bro? So funny.
I can tell you that I knew that guy for years, and I mean I knew him well. Like, cooked for him. We were friends. And he is fucking wonderful. So
I don't think that makes a difference.
Your loathing,
for Cosmic Urgency.
your loathing for Pedro Pascal is a loathing for something kind and good, because he is kind and good. He's endured, and he was absolute in his life's purpose. So very admirable the way he went about his life, because it was hard for him. You know what he played? Cholos.
Oh yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
he got to play Essay.
I
What's
know.
going on, Essay? That was it. Those were the roles he got.
Bro, all my brown friends who were
Yeah.
like super talented actors, that's all they ever got offered ever.
And we talked about it. Like he would just get upset, And he's like playing, and he's this gay guy. I mean,
Well, he's like a super sensitive guy too.
his fucking range as an actor. Like I don't know. I haven't seen. Welcome back, Alyssa. I haven't seen all of Pedro's work yet, because honestly I go through a lot of emotions. I do, and it's hard. It's not fair to me. I get a lot of movie experiences get ruined. Like if I'm watching something, because Vonnie Ribisi, he just shows up in movies like as a thing now. He's like, he just shows up. Oh fuck, it's Vonnie, because he's not in the main titles all the time or whatever. Like things like that. When people like that pop up, it ruins my goddamn day. Still, I got to get better. It's because the book has to. I need something to happen. Jesus, I'm gonna have to check in with Jesus.
Lord, would you kindly?
Dale here. I see the way you effectuate athletic competition, and I'm inquiring as to whether you interfere with artistry, filmmaking.
I love how you put on the accent, because that's who the Lord is going to listen to.
Yeah. Yeah,
You're like, let me say this in a language you might understand, Lord.
A Southern Baptist is the only way. A fake Southern Baptist.
Stefan
Stefan
appreciates Cosmic Urgency. You want to hear this?
Yeah.
It's really funny. Stefan said, Cosmic Urgency, deliberately or not, you make my night every damn time, my guy.
We attract the best of the best. Whether you're contrarian or just, chill, we got the best of the best around here.
That's right.
Fucking best of the best, people. What else? There was no Blake Lively tonight, huh? She was like, they all just we'll just sit back and let this.
No,
Karen
I mean
Reed
things are happening. They're fighting in court. They're just not.
I believe it.
But they're fighting about discovery. Also, all of the social media accounts that are still pro Baldoni are claiming that she is fighting discovery by trying to narrow the scope of their discovery, but she's provided like 10 times as much documents and information than the Wayfarer parties have, so they're wrong. But that's all it is. It's not really much to report about, because it's just they're like it's just a lawyer writing a motion about this and somebody, claiming that they should, I think she's supposed to get deposed in a month.
Blake Lively is, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we'll hear about that.
Yeah, I think that, they're all geared up. Everyone's like, I'm going to do this, man. Fucking depose me. You'll get the truth. By the way, Cosmic Urgency, I too have struggled with Jimmy Kimmel as a talent. Have you? I didn't like the Man Show at all. I thought it was like an absurdity, and I was still going through my own, like I was still shedding the inherent misogyny, at that time. So it wasn't like a righteous thing, where I was like, girls on trampolines, outrageous. I was actually, well, at least there's girls on trampolines. Do you know what I mean? Like that was at that stage of my life,
Yeah, right.
But I was never a big Jimmy Kimmel fan myself. I got to meet him one night. I was good friends with a magician called Keith Berry out of the UK. He's very big in Ireland these days and thereabouts in the UK and stuff. He still does these big theaters and stuff. Anyway, he had a moment in America, and he got on Jimmy Kimmel. And so I went to the show with him. And so we did the after party and stuff, And the after party was Jimmy Kimmel had a deck built on the ABC lot. Like just a wood patio.
Okay.
With walls. And it was in the middle of the parking lot. And you just go onto this patio in the middle of a parking lot.
That sounds so lame.
And we just smoked weed all night. And it was like when it was illegal. So it was like, I was like, wow, we're in the middle of a parking lot just blowing this weed and with Sarah Silverman. And
tell me, because it sounds like it was like way too lit.
No, it was night. It was after the show.
No, I know, but like in the middle of the
parking lot. But it was lit.
Lot.
They had lights. Yeah. It was all lit up.
That sounds like such
and it was like
a
all the
lame
guests and all this, like all of Kimmel's friends. So it was like this like little like famous crowd.
How weird.
I might have even seen David Spade that night too. It was like someone like that. It was like another SNLer was
anyway,
there.
so that's why you don't like him, because he threw a lame party for his VIPs.
No, that made me like him. I wasn't a lame party. I liked that party. It was pretty fun. It was like, wow, we're in the middle of a parking lot.
Wait a second. That does not sound cool.
It was just unique. It was just unique. It's like a green room situation. It's not like a real party. It's like an after work party.
Right.
Fuck, man. I don't know where you've been working, but none of the jobs I had was there a fucking deck in the middle of the parking lot for us to go smoke weed and drink beer afterwards.
I would expect something a little bit more like,
with famous people.
Luxurious.
It was a good time, man. But I'm still not a fan of the guy. I think most of his jokes are lame. And I also think that the Man Show was lame.
You know how sometimes they'll say that like some piece of art is like ahead of its time? Do they say that something is like behind its time?
Yeah, I think they do.
Because the Man Show was definitely like behind its time.
Sometimes it's charming, like George Burns or like Rodney Dangerfield.
I think if the jokes are, let's see how we can make this random woman uncomfortable. Like it seemed like a lot of their jokes. The Girls on Trampolines was fun because those girls, like, they looked like they were having a good time and they were being paid for it. So yeah. Fine, whatever. But a lot of the jokes.
Yeah, I mean, I used to go to the Standard.
A lot of the jokes that they did on the show were like, let's make this person uncomfortable and watch them squirm. And yeah. It was always women. Yeah,
that's where it was out of hand.
That's fucked up.
I used to go to the Standard all the time, and they would always have like models there.
If you guys don't know this,
in an aquarium,
it's so bonkers. There's a hotel in Los Angeles called the Standard, and their whole gimmick is that in the lobby when you walk in, they have the reception desk, but behind the reception desk there is a tank, and it looks like a big terrarium that you would have like a big lizard enclosure or something at the zoo.
Right.
But instead,
it's a chick reading a book.
Elevated, and it's all clear, and it's just like a comfy bedding or a carpet in there, and then it's just a girl,
scantily clad,
trapped in there,
stunningly beautiful,
reading a book, and that's it, the whole time. What does she wear? I can't remember. Is she wearing does she wear a bikini or is she dressed? I can't remember. But it's just they'll hire like a model to just
all of them.
like.
I've seen women, like I've seen some chicks who were like in like, but it's all scantily clad.
It's so weird.
It made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, where you're like trying to like check in and you're like, just watching this person like they're at a person zoo?
You know, this was like in the 90s. And so what made me most uncomfortable about it was that I was also like visually attracted to them. And at the same time being like, oh my God, like, why are you a spectacle?
Why are you a spectacle?
And why am I spectating?
Yeah.
I couldn't like help spectating because
this is the thing.
They're
This is the
wildly
part-
attractive. And it's this like, you know, weird thing.
I know. This is the part that made
I
me
should have just
uncomfortable.
followed my like my instinct and just walked up to the glass and just stood there with my hands on it.
Started just like licking, like
Oh no. You have to go with licking?
like those videos of the dog at the
God.
back window, where you're just like big long licks.
No, man. Man, you take inappropriate a whole different
But the
direction.
reason why I hated it so much was because I was like, it's like you walk into a room and there's like somebody is like doing their kink, you know, the way that they want their kink done.
Yeah.
And you're walking in and you're like, why am I being involved in this? Like, why am I being dragged into whatever kinky shit is happening in this place?
Dude, I got overstimulated from that. Like, I knew this guy who was like, "Oh, you want to come to this BDSM club or whatever?" And I didn't really know what it was. And I was like, "Yeah, okay, let's go." We walked in, bro. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was just
Well, that's different.
way overstimulated.
That's different. You're going to a club that is meant for
Yeah.
that thing. When
No, I
you're
know.
like just walking into a hotel room because your friends have
No,
like,
that's exactly. You're caught completely off
your
guard. You're
friends
like,
are like having a
what is gonna
party
happen?
by the pool or something, and you're like, oh God, what is this? There's
No,
a person.
The
in
first
a
thing I asked
cube.
is like, is something going to happen? Like, are we? Should we wait? Like, is something going to happen?
No, she just fucking reads her book.
Read her
everybody-
book.
and
She's reading a
people
book.
leer at her constantly. It's
And people
fucked
just
up.
leering at her. Yeah.
It's weird. Apparently, it was a very chill job to have,
I imagine she was reading a book.
being a zoo model.
Now they probably play Nintendo or Steam Deck. Stefan's asking, what was I ever an Entourage fan given my past? No, I was not an Entourage fan. No, I don't think I saw more than one or two shows. Kevin Connolly's kind of a shit to me, you know.
yeah, so you don't want to. You're not entertained by
I
watching
have,
him.
I have no support love for him. You know, I don't support him. He was he participated in the destruction of my dreams, so I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
But I wasn't also a fan of the concept of Entourage, really. I didn't really like it. To me, it was like it was too close for me. You know what I mean? Like I can get like the
Well, that's obviously why it
fistful effect on
existed,
it. Yeah,
because it was about them,
right.
and your
It
life.
was just too
your
close, too weird, too also like I was like, I don't know. It's probably a great show. I'm talking about something I know nothing about, really, because I didn't watch it.
Oh, excuse me. I bet
Delicate says Entourage is on my finished watching list. You should definitely finish watching it. I love Kevin Dillon. So when I didn't tell the story in the book because why? I landed in LA after hanging out with Jeremy Sisto and Alicia Silverstone quite extensively in Vancouver, and I'd become friends with Alicia Silverstone. So when I landed, I called her up right away. I was like, Alicia, I'm in town. What's going on? She's like, hey, come meet me at my set. I'm making a movie right now. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll come by now. And I went to the set, and she was working on a movie that I don't even know what it's called. I never saw it. It was with her and Kevin Dillon. I guess you could go to her IMDb and find the movie with her and Kevin Dillon. You'd know which one I'm talking about. Or maybe one of you have seen it. In any case, Kevin Dillon was there, and we were just hanging out in the trailer. We sat there like it was a typical movie set where Alicia and Kevin were
True
just,
Crime, 1995.
yeah, True Crime. There you go, 1995. So I was in '94 when I got to LA. I was on her set like probably within the first few days of me being in Los Angeles, maybe the first couple of weeks. But anyway, Kevin Dillon was doing this like he was taking these shots. He was like, "Hey, can I take a picture of you with this Polaroid?" And he was taking pictures of all of us. In the Polaroids, and then he took a Polaroid, and then he took a pen. He centered you in the frame, and then he took a pen and he just did that while it was developing.
Oh, cool.
And then it turns into this like kaleidoscope shit around your head.
That's fun.
It was really neat. I didn't get to keep mine though.
Oh.
Fucker. He kept it. Why do you want my picture? You don't even know who I am. Yeah. I'm a Canadian. I just got here. I'm a dumb fuck. I'm no good at nothing.
Yeah, you should have given it to you for
Give
sure.
it to me, Kevin. Get my picture. He was so fucking cool. It was the only time I ever hung out with the guy, but he was as pleasant as they come. You know.
That's neat.
Yeah. It was a fun night. And I never saw the movie because Alicia got so weird. So I forget. I ran into one of our mutual friends. Like this had to be maybe 3 months later. I ran into like a bunch of our mutual friends. No, it wasn't 3 months later. It was after Clueless. So I had seen her a bunch of times.
Excuse me.
Between when I got to town and when Clueless came out. And then after Clueless came out, it was probably Brittany Murphy. I ran into somebody. And I was like, yo, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, have you seen Alicia? Because I haven't seen her in forever. And they were like, oh, yeah, I haven't talked to her or whatever. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I talk to her all the time. I was like, oh, yeah, tell her I say hi. And she's like, okay, I will. And then fucking, I don't know, maybe it was a couple weeks after that, she was like, by the way, yeah, Alicia totally remembers who you are. So she told me. I was like, what? That is so fucking weird. What a weird thing to say. Oh, I just want you to know that Alicia remembers who you are.
Oh, thank God. Because,
Like, what are you talking about? Why would she fucking forget who I was? What happened?
I was really worried. I just really wanted to make sure that she remembers who I am because, it's just really important to me to be noticed by her.
She had a hit movie.
So weird.
She had a hit movie and then suddenly like forgot who.
Why are celebrities weird?
I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? I never spoke to her again after that. I literally never spoke to her again.
Yeah, why
as
would
soon
you?
as that happened, I was like, okay, that's weird.
Yeah, you're
I'm
like,
done.
I
literally did I had her phone fucking, I had a phone number, it was 1994. I had a little black book.
It could be like, it could be, messed up in translation, like what she conveyed to you could be not what Alicia was saying. So who knows?
The message was she remembers you. And that's fucking weird.
Yeah. I know it could be that totally innocent and that Alicia was just
Cosmic Urgency is coming to her rescue. She was a teenager. Leave her alone. No. I remembered her fucking name. She didn't forget my name. I'm not going to ever get over it. Remember me. Of course I'm very memorable. It was just a weird thing to say. I have nothing against her. I think she's fine. No. Although her book was weird as fuck. In her book, she made a cookbook. You ever know that? She had a cookbook.
I remember hearing she made a cookbook, but I wasn't interested in it.
She had a hit cookbook. It was a vegetarian cookbook. I was a vegetarian at the time. I bought it to support my old friend, Alicia Silverstone.
Who remembers you?
Who might not now. People are fucking weird in Hollywood, bro. Well, anyway, I read the book. And at some point in the book, she says that she believes that if everyone would become a vegetarian, that would create world peace.
World peace?
World peace.
That there wouldn't be any conflicts
over... She thinks it's about meat eating, not religion.
So there
wouldn't
be
borders,
conflicts over oil,
not
and
commodities, not
religion. If people just
resources, she thinks it's over. She thinks meat is making everybody crazy.
Maybe we should try out the theory.
It's incredibly bad. Like, I was like, oof. Like, how do you, as an editor, not sit her down and be like, you can't publish this?
Yeah, it's a little...
Now, maybe it's not in the book. It could have been in an interview. I can't remember which. Read the book and find out.
It's cute.
Meat.
I mean, I think it would help. It would help a lot of things. I don't know that it would help world peace.
Really? You think Israel is going to leave the Palestinians alone?
No, it would not help. I'm saying it would help a lot of things, right?
Get off the lamb.
Like maybe if we stopped factory farming, we would have less of a water crisis, and a water crisis is going to cause war. And so maybe in that way, but there's a bunch of connections she's not making that I feel like are missing. I don't know.
So there's some interesting...
I'm no expert.
No, you're not. Why would you be?
No. I'm just a baby abolitionist.
I love that.
I really don't.
I'm going to get you a t-shirt.
I really don't know what I'm talking about.
Baby abolitionist
I'm
t-shirts.
still learning. I know it's bad, but I'm still learning about how we're supposed to get out of it.
OnlyFans has turned into a multi-billion-dollar juggernaut that rivals the biggest legacy studios in Hollywood.
Are you going to join OnlyFans?
For what? What could I provide anybody for joy at OnlyFans?
Naked pictures.
Of me.
Sure. Your face.
This is like another way for me to fail. This is like, This is another way for me to like build. Like I was sure my book.
my God,
I was sure my book
Can you
was going to sell
imagine?
tens of thousands of copies by now.
Can you imagine if you're like, okay, this is really going to do it this time. I'm going
This
to
is
put up
gonna-
pictures of myself nude.
I thought
and
my
it's
book-
for sure going to take off.
Bro, I thought my book, especially after the first fucking, group of 5-star reviews came out, I was like,
I was like,
Oh.
smooth sailing.
home shopping. Home shopping. So.
So you're not gonna join OnlyFans because you're worried you're gonna fail.
No, if I join OnlyFans, I'll be sure that I'm going to make $100,000 a week, that I'm going to show up and pay off people's student loans at their doors. Hey, how much is your student loan? La, 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 and then film it so that I can be adored for that,
Like that guy with that totally insane video where he's like
where he goes to pay off his sister. And
inexplicably has a pet duck.
yes, and he throws money at his sister
Yeah,
by
he
the
just
stacks.
chucks it right at.
He's throwing
So funny.
stacks of
She's
money
like,
at her.
It's so great. His mom's screaming at him for kicking in the door.
Stefan said, "Too nude, an unclothed memoir."
That is perfect. Too nude.
Too nude.
Too nude.
The
Subscript.
sequel.
Put on some clothes.
So I don't want to go and fail at OnlyFans because it'd be like the last failure, Like, come on, man. That's when you're like, naked pictures of me. Oh my God. Honestly, if somebody bought them, like if I got a subscriber, I think I would faint. I do. I think I would faint. I would frame that fucking money. That would be right up there with like the first acting job. Like that's
great.
That's big. To think that anybody would
You
pay
can do other
to
stuff
look
on
at me doing.
OnlyFans though. You don't have to. You don't have to just be nude.
No, you can do AMSA,
ASMR.
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 Theta. I could do that.
Alyssa wants to know: have you tried to go to some newspapers and stuff with your book?
Leonardo DiCaprio's interfered with all of the press. I had New York Magazine lined up to do an exclusive, and they pulled out last minute. I had the Hollywood Reporter, one of their best writers. They pulled out last minute. I had two, what's it called in the UK? Far Out Magazine. They're as big as New York Magazine in terms of numbers. They were all in on an exclusive. I got this sick chat that I need to screenshot. I got this whole chat on Twitter of them like courting me, gonna do this whole thing. Shut down. Mm-hmm. So
So you have tried.
I've gone out to press and they will not print my story because Leo's publicists are that powerful. It's that simple. I have a book where Leonardo DiCaprio does some of the craziest shit, and nobody's talking about it. It's pretty weird.
It's probably not a coincidence that it's not picking up. I think that they're suppressing it.
Go to Candace Owens with it. No.
No. Never. I don't think that would help you.
I'd rather be broke.
I think that there's also, they are very interested in turning you into a crazy person so that you can be disregarded.
I'm not playing to that crowd. That's not my crowd. That's not
no,
my
but
crowd.
I mean, like, specifically, that's a tactic whenever, like, it would be really, really easy for them to disregard you and exploit other people's ability to disregard you if you show up on, like, crazy podcasts and stuff. Crazy conspiracy podcasts.
I don't know if do you know Cosmic Urgency that I got that somebody reached out to me to do the Candace Owens show?
I think that was probably a plant.
It wasn't a plant.
No, I'm saying is
literally when I said I can't align with that chick. I'm not doing it. That person said they were lining me up with a bunch of opportunities.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I think that was.
Why was it a plant?
If you haven't read that book on Harvey Weinstein's tactics,
I'm trying to figure out why it would be a plant. Like what's the benefit as a plant?
I'm saying the book is titled Catch and Kill.
Yeah, I know that book.
And they explicitly do this whenever. Yeah. Like, so Harvey Weinstein hired people to go and basically poach his accusers by befriending them and helping them and trying to get into their inner circle. And it worked with Rose McGowan. And she had this long relationship, this really close friendship with somebody who was a completely fraudulent imposter in her life. And I'm just saying, if somebody reaches out to you and it's just feels a little fucking fishy that they were like, hey, let me help you specifically go on these like super right wing, they're just really divisive. And so if they can make you a divisive character, it's easier to disregard what you're saying.
It wasn't like that. It was more like, it was like in terms of the courtship, like she totally like misled me toward Candace Owen. So she was like lining up all these other ones. And I was like, and then I started looking at them more closely because they were like influencers and stuff. And she was like, I'm going to hook you up with this guy. I'm going to hook you up with that guy. And she had like a list of them.
Yeah.
And so I started clicking on them. And
who knows, dude? Maybe those people are all friendly with DiCaprio's publicist.
And then all of a sudden,
you know, it's a whole fucking ecosystem.
Then all of a sudden she goes, well, I can get you on the Candace Owen show. And I was like, and she would love to have
You're like, no thanks.
And I was like, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. Nope. I would rather be broke. I'd rather be broke. You know, I'm sick. You know, fucking, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe being principled doesn't matter. Maybe it's stupid.
It's all that fucking matters.
Maybe that's the difference. Maybe that's why maybe that's why I've struggled more than I've succeeded, is because I have a silly notion that I'm supposed to be in the company of people of like mind or like thought.
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know. Whatever.
Listen.
Fuck it.
Dale, the alternative is fucking misery.
My
favorite. If you say that these people actually help you get some book sales.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden you're surrounded with the fucking likes of Candace fucking Owens.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
You're miserable.
No, I'm not.
That's a miserable way to succeed.
No.
That's not success.
But besides that crowd is not kind to me. I did
also they're so disloyal. Like they just fucking turn on people. For
unbeknownst to me, I did a right wing. They had 500,000 people on their channel. I did it was like a long interview, and the whole crowd just turned on me horribly. In the comments, I sold no books.
Yeah, so it doesn't fucking pay.
500,000 people got like, it didn't get like great numbers. It got like a couple 100,000 views or something, or not even, maybe 100,000 views. But I got wrecked in the comments. People were treating me so mean. They were being horrible to me. It's not true. I did sell a few books, but it was later down the road. He actually repurposed it on his Facebook page. Like I was all over the place on with this guy. This guy just slathered me on all of his social media. And I ended up getting like a couple of emails that were like, hey, I just saw you on, I think his name was Matt something. Anyway, I regretted it because it was just mostly abuse that I took, and the number of books I sold.
And the host was like liking the comments that were.
Yeah, that's it. He was fucking liking the comments that were talking shit about me. And they were like really unfair statements that were just mean-hearted, like nasty, like throw rocks and,
And he was like, yep, approve.
Name-calling garbage. And he was like liking them. And then he was like, some guy was like, I'll paraphrase. This guy's a fucking clown, loser, pussy or whatever. And then he like commented. He was like, yeah, no, huh? And then I responded. I was like, what the fuck, Matt? I just gave you content for your fucking channel, you dickhead.
I know, thanks a lot, man.
It was very disappointing.
That's what I'm saying. This is the Anthony Bourdain no asshole rule. You have to stick to it for your own self-preservation.
Maybe I'll do can you do like just do ranting on OnlyFans? Like I'll do rants for people.
Naked?
Yeah. Angry fucking man booby waggling fucking
man boob waggling?
Man boob waggling fucking
That's what your channel description is.
Man boob waggler?
Man boob waggling.
I don't really
rants.
have man boobs per se. I'm just not in the shape I used to be in when I was CrossFitting. You remember those days?
I do, yeah.
They were good days.
Erica's asking me, you want to abolish babies, Angela? Because I said I was a baby abolitionist. It's so great. It's such like a great grammar joke.
Double entendre. It's a double entendre. They call them in comic book, comedy.
I meant I am a novice abolitionist is what I meant. Not that I want to abolish babies. I'm a baby abolitionist, not an abolitionist.
Like a baby writer.
Yes. You want to abolish babies. That's really funny. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if that was like my big cause?
I think Paul McCartney's birthday is today, by the way. Do you know who that is? Have you heard of him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little younger than you, but I know who Paul
He was in
McCartney
this
is.
band back in the day. He turned 83 and today, and I was sure he was like 140.
I know.
Like
was
he
so
has to be
fucking
140.
young when
Like
he got successful.
he's a year younger than my dad, and I'm like no way about that. Because first of all, like on the level of cool, like my dad has, my dad, we had a rough past, but my dad's got like some amazing qualities. He's incredibly generous to people. He's mostly kind to almost everybody he knows, with the exception of his children. So he's got like these good things going for him. But that guy is my dad, so far away in like the scope of cool, the scope of like it's like crazy the difference in these humans, my dad and Paul McCartney. Like I can't believe they're from the same fucking era. That's not boomers, by the way. They're not boomers. Did you know that? They predate boomers, these fuckers.
No.
Yes, Paul McCartney's not a boomer. Boomers starting like 40,
No.
maybe it's 42.
No. Mm-mm.
40, 44. They're not the greatest generation either, obviously.
Oh yeah, 1946 to 1964.
Told you.
Look at you being right again. You're right, I'm wrong.
I'm a fucking fountain of knowledge.
All the time.
I'm telling you, I can't believe that my dad is 1 year older than Paul McCartney. It's just so crazy. Like they're not even the same stratosphere of personality. Like my dad feels like something like that comes out of a Steinbeck fucking novel. And Paul McCartney is like the greatest, coolest rock and roller of all time. When I read that, I was like, how is he not 90 something, first of all?
He got so famous so young. I think they were still fucking teenagers when they were like massive.
I wanna hold you. Yeah.
Oh, Alyssa wants to know, what is the name of the guy who was the bad interviewer? Is that the one on YouTube? Dale did a few YouTube interviews. I think the one that he's talking about specifically this time is Matthew Cox, I think his name.
That's his name. Matthew Cox.
He is the dullest interviewer I have. He asked Dale a bunch of questions before the interview. Like, he really did act like he was trying to become prepared. And then you show up for the interview and he was just
bad.
like, so what school did you go to when you were younger?
I said to him,
Like,
yeah, it was fucking bad. I said to him at some point, like when we were talking about the lawsuit, I said, you know, we had to go through Discovery. You know what Discovery is. And he's an ex-con, this guy. And in the comments, they roasted me for saying that to him. Like, why does he have to know what Discovery is just because he's an ex-con? See, he got convicted once of a thing and he knows what Discovery is. I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Why should I know?
You don't know the guy.
I don't know. I don't know what he paid
it's so
attention
weird.
to.
Anyway.
I don't know what he, some people go, oh, you'll take care of that, my lawyer friend, and I'll be over here.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
Especially if like a lawyer's not.
I don't watch his fucking channel. I don't know that he knows what Discovery. I don't know anything about
Yeah.
him.
Also, like, what makes you think the lawyer's going to inform him about all of the lawyer work he's doing?
That guy's a fucking clown. Matthew Cox, he's a clown. I got a couple more things. Ted Danson thought that Shelley Long was a terrible fit for Cheers. And then later admits, years later, that he was completely wrong about it. Also goes on to say in the article, Cosmic Urgency, that...
You look direct to camera every time. It's so funny.
Also said in the interview that everything that he suggested was fucking horseshit. Like he was like, everything I suggested was garbage and everyone knew it. They should never take my advice. But I thought that Shelley Long was a terrible fit. But it was cool because there's not like a massive amount of conversations about it, but it was cool. It was a good like chat about Shelley Long, and the values she brought to Cheers. Did you ever see that show?
Yes.
Did you watch it? Like, did you like it?
Yes.
It could be my favorite show of all time. It could be.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
More than Taxi.
Yes.
Taxi's
Taxi.
really good.
I know. I watched them both. All of them. Taxi was way up there, but for me, Cheers just hit this chord that has never been struck since. Has never been heard since. And Shelley Long was a really big part of it. As a matter of fact, and by the way, this is a great movie recommendation. I think it's Ron Howard's debut film, actually, as a director. And he directed Michael Keaton and Henry Winkler in a movie called Night Shift with Shelley Long. And so in the big controversial moment when Shelley Long decided that she was going to leave Cheers to pursue her career, because she's an amazing actor. You know, so she's leaving Cheers. She's going to pursue it. Everybody thought it was the biggest mistake of her career. And what did she do? She went and did this movie.
Yeah, that's so cool.
This movie called Night Shift.
With some nobody nothing.
With Michael Keaton. Is it Ron Howard, the director?
Ron Howard, the actor, you know, before he was a big director.
Right, yeah. Opie, right? He was Opie, wasn't he?
Let's see.
Was he Opie?
I don't remember his character name.
Anyway, whatever. Anywho's.
No, it was not his first film.
But he directed it?
Yes.
So, not his first film.
He did.
I couldn't recommend it more. It's fucking total. I use this line still. This is a line I steal from that film all the time. Barney Rubble, what an actor! It's just a great line. I can't explain why I love it.
That's really funny.
It's a fun because it's this guy, like, he's going in for the night shift, and the guy on the day shift is sitting there watching the Flintstones. And
Barney Rubble,
and he's just laughing hysterically. He's like, Barney Rubble, what an actor!
We have discussed our favorite actors before on
Is Barney Rubble one of them?
On our little segments here at night.
Yeah.
And I really regret that I forgot to mention Michael Keaton, because he is definitely one of my fucking favorites. He's so unique.
Before you go off on that, this is about Shelley Long.
Every single time.
And Shelley Long did that movie, and I was so excited about it because Shelley Long's boobies are on this. She plays a prostitute, and she gets half naked in it. And I was so excited. Like, when I found out about that, I was like, oh my God. Isn't that nuts?
It's weird because I can't imagine anybody being hot for Shelley Long in Cheers.
Oh, I was crazy about it.
Because she's so, like, not like...
That's how I was with Charlie's Angels. I wanted Sabrina, not Farrah Fawcett. Like, I was all about Sabrina. She's, like, arguably the least attractive of the three, and I was, like, crazy about her. Like, as a young boy, I crushed on her hard.
I know, it doesn't always make sense. I always really liked I always had the hots for, like, the actors that played, like, the monsters, and they would be, like, in the monster makeup.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think that Tim Curry was hot, but Tim Curry in Legend playing the demon, that was like an awakening for me.
That's hilarious.
As a kid.
That's really funny.
I was like, something's wrong with me, I guess.
Cosmic Urgency is asking if Magnolia is the kind of movie that he should wait to see on the big screen. Well, you kind of missed it, buddy. No, I mean, all movies are better on the big screen. I mean, if you can see a movie, we're gonna, when the book becomes huge and this podcast is, like, you know, trying to knock Joe Rogan out of his spot, Angela and I we're gonna build an auditorium on the west wing or east wing or one of the wings, the northernmost peak of our mansion. I think a big screen is always the best place to see a movie, but I think that Magnolia is a movie you can watch. I've watched it on the small screen more than once. And I've seen it on the big screen.
Erica is departing.
Good night, Erica. We said that. Yes, he was Opie. Thank you, Erica. Good night. It's always great to see you. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
Oh, my local art house is showing Magnolia in August. Definitely go see it.
Go.
You know what's really great about that movie is there's a bunch of little Easter eggs, too. So it's really fun to experience with a bunch of people. I don't know.
I love it. Or alone, whatever. That movie is fucking brilliant.
I like I don't know if it feels super nerdy to admit that I really love those, like, analytical YouTube videos where they, like, deconstruct all the little Easter eggs and stuff and talk about the choices that the director or the editor has made, you know. Magnolia has a bunch of those. He was obsessed with the number 82. So sometimes you can see where that number shows up. I think it's 82. 28? I can't remember. But there's a number that repeats in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember why he does it.
It's a great movie. It's it's one of PTA's best for sure. I don't know. I mean, you know, he's had three close to masterpiece movies. Boogie Nights, Magnolia, and There Will Be Blood.
I completely agree with you. I think that Magnolia is in my top 5 favorite movies ever. But I don't think it needs to be seen on a big screen. I think you should definitely see it if it's showing, but I don't think you should necessarily wait for it.
If you want to see structurally a movie that came before it by one of the greatest directors America has ever known, and who kind of created that format, really, watch Robert Altman's Shorts.
Oh, where it was like a bunch of intersecting.
It's all these intersecting storylines. Grand Canyon did it, starring Jeremy Sisto and Danny Glover and Kevin Kline and.
Baby, stop licking.
It's a crazy
It's
cast,
noisy.
and that also is a story that brings these intersecting storylines. That was before. What was that one that did it? That won the Oscar. That you didn't like the movie very much.
Oh, Crash.
Crash.
Oh my God! So
Yeah.
I was trying.
Crash was definitely like borrowing.
I was trying to
from
figure out
all
how to write a movie with a screenplay with a bunch of intersecting storylines because I have a story I want to tell, and I was like, oh, okay, well I'll just read a bunch of these really successful ones, and so I started with that one. Oh my God, that screenplay is so racist. Like,
Yeah, it is.
first scene is like chock full of all these like really garbage stereotypes, just blatant racism. I don't know how it got greenlit. I definitely don't know how it won.
I'm going with white dude.
That's nuts.
Why haven't you seen Licorice Pizza? Why haven't we seen Licorice Pizza? What is wrong with me? What is wrong with you? You know why? Inherent Vice. That's why. Inherent Vice. It's weird how that affected us, but I didn't like it.
I don't watch Tarantino movies after Sally Menke died because he fell right the fuck off. And after P.T. Anderson is one of my favorite filmmakers ever, and after Inherent Vice, and I was like, that was a waste of time.
I hated it.
I broke my trust. But yes,
I'm going to
we
watch
should
it. I want to see it. I want to see it very much. Crash won because of homophobia, probably. Yeah, the Oscars loves to like play into the whole like scenes and the trend, I guess you could say.
So Cosmic Urgency said, I'm not going to go to see Magnolia in the theaters. You guys said it's not a big screen kind of movie. I can watch it on my TV then. Here's the thing.
I would go see it on the
You
big
should-
screen every time.
I don't know what your TV setup is. So if you're talking
Right.
about watching it on your phone or something, like,
good point.
don't. There's a really great sound design in that movie. And I don't think you need a theater, but you should, like, I don't know if you have, like, a good setup in your house.
Watch it either way because you're going to enjoy it no matter what happens. But if you can see a movie in a theater and you're down with it and it's cheap and whatever and it fits your world, go do it. I'm such a you're only going to be doing the world a favor if you buy a movie ticket, whether it's an old movie or a new movie.
That's true. If your local theater is putting on an older movie because for the love of the game, like, you should definitely just go support them. That's the way that I feel about it.
Holy crap! It's 9:16. All right, my last thing. I have one more thing. Where is it? God damn it!
Save it for tomorrow.
Wait, I'll lose it in the pile. Where is it? Oh, well, first of all, I actually have two things because Amanda Seyfried is grossed out that she invited dictator Harvey Weinstein to a past Sundance premiere. And then she's quoted, this is only the headline, I didn't read this article. It's just the way it was. We all needed him.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
And this is why my life was so easily destroyed by these guys. Because Leo became a need for everybody, because he got movies made, and reputationally, if you were tied to him in any way, then you got green doors, you got to green lights, open doors. So it's just so interesting because here we have somebody who's saying what kind of nobody else would say, really. Like, no one said this. When Ben Affleck or his partner Matt, what's his name again?
Matt Damon?
Yeah, Matt Damon.
It's late.
When they were asked about it, they were like, oh, stumbled all over it. All the Harvey Weinstein supporters, which it was basically all of Hollywood.
Yeah.
And they were all friends with him more or less because they needed him. Like, look, I had people telling me really awful stories about Harvey Weinstein in 1995, 1996. People who were very close to him, people who were, 1 degree. I mean, people who were directly dealing with him. They told me horrible fucking stories about him. Now, not crimes, but just bloody, just short of crimes, like horrific scenarios that I would never want anyone I know to be put through, or anyone I don't know.
Also, Amanda Seyfried was so young then when all of that was going on, when he was still like
For sure.
king of the hill, like, it was just I feel like it's it's possible that she was protected from knowing the worst about it because she must have been still a teenager then.
She couldn't have been. Yeah, she couldn't have been much older than that. I think I have one last thing. I think that might be, but let me just see. I think I had Paul McCartney. Yeah, he's 83. Happy birthday, bud. I guess that's it. You guys are so wonderful. We really do appreciate you spending time with us.
Did you have a nice time?
I did. I had a really nice time.
I know you had a rough day.
I did
you
have
feel
a rough
little
day.
better?
It's so funny because I was having such a rough day that I was like, I wonder, if I'm going to be any value to anybody tonight. But it's really just like, you hang out with people and you just, people elevate me.
Yeah.
I am better at every level because of the people around me. And, whenever I'm alone, I feel it, like not just in like just in the way in which I want to contribute to the world. I want to contribute to the world through people, not as a person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I get to contribute to the world through people when you guys are with us. And like, I can't do this without you. And so I just love all of you guys, and I'm so glad to be in your company. And hi and goodbye, Nadine. I can't wait to see you guys. By the way, Gary Oldman. No, not Gary Oldman. Somebody got knighted. Somebody else. There's a new sir out there.
That's not a by the way.
Somebody said something about.
We have not been talking about anything
Stephen
like that.
Stephen said good for Paul McCartney, and I was like, somebody just got knighted, and I forgot to talk about it.
That's not a by the way. What in the ADD are you talking about?
Coming up next week, we talk about an actor who got knighted. They call him Sir now.
That's not a by the way. Come on.
You guys are wonderful.
You're scribbling.
Thank all of you. I thank all of you. I'm going to stop streaming. Say goodnight.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
I'm glad you're feeling better.